Monday to Friday. And don't forget, their Cardlock location is accessible 24 hours for your convenience. B&A Petroleum. Fuel you once, fuel you forever.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit KELLNsolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Another week of the Sports Cage. How you doing out there in Radioland and streaming? Like the big voice said, at sportscage.com. Barney Schenkeruk, Colson, Curtis Anderson. Curtis Gammon's back with us. And then we're going to have Maz joining as the co-host today. We're going to talk about one Andrew Harris in the fold as a rider coach. Who all woke up this morning, saw that, and was like, whoa, something ain't right. What day is it? April 1st. Arash Madani is going back and checking receipts, though. We talk to him tomorrow, and he's like, yeah, I called this. So interesting stuff out of Riderville. And we will hear from Andrew Harris within the hour. Is Connor McDavid going to get suspended or what? Maz and I will run down that. Tyler Myers definitely is getting suspended because he's Tyler Myers. NFL weekend was interesting. And Eric Francis will be with us in hour 2. Get his take on a number of things. Darian Durant's on the 1 game. I was on the 2 game last week. There's lots of stuff going around. I don't have to say that to you out there. It's one of those things where it's like, you meet someone, it's like, oh, I wasn't feeling well. Oh, there's lots going around. Oh, yeah, there is. And Darian Durant's got it down in Florida. It's traveling everywhere. But the good guy he is, Luc Mullinder, he's like, I can step in. Not a problem. And I'm actually really curious to talk to Luc about Andrew Harris coming into the fold at the Riders. So Luc will be with us in hour 3. Let's bring in Chris Mazurek. Maz, we riding shotgun today. It's cold, Maz. And I know that is stating the obvious, but it doesn't matter how cold it is, there are still 3 people in Sasky. There's it's never too cold to, I'm going to go outside for a smoke every hour and a half or whatever. Like that's commitment to the game. There's, I'm still biking to work guy. Big tires. God. Yeah. Still doing that.
Bike lane guy. God.
Yep. And there is, I'm going for a jog guy. No matter what. I saw that guy in my neighborhood today. I couldn't believe it. But you know that jogging, that's an addiction. I should get back into that addiction, but I was in it twice in my life where you just have to jog. Like you have to jog. And if you go outside, then you bundle up and you got like 3 face shields on and ski goggles and you go. Good on you out there. But you know what I mean, right? Like those 3 are a staple.
There's always shorts guy, and the best part is when it's freezing cold like this, and you're traveling, and you get to the airport. There's that guy. He's always got the camouflage cargo pants on or shorts on, flip flops, and he's got a hockey jersey on, and he's grossly overweight, and he's ordering a Caesar at 6 a.m, and he's just celebrating life because he just spent $2,000, and he's going to the Dominican for a week. And he's just going to go mental. Hey, do you know it's Blue Monday today? This is
he went on budget this year. He's going Cuba.
Well, with carbon taxes, hey, listen, if you can afford Cuba still, that's good on you, man. Today is Blue Monday. It's supposed to be the most depressing day of the year. And when it starts out as minus 33 and then minus 50 with the wind chill, I can see where jogging guy has to get out of the house, or jogging gal, just to make themselves feel better. My wife, she's run a couple of marathons, and no matter what the weather, she would go run every day so you can stay on track. It's nuts. Like, I couldn't.
And then the
But
biking.
bike lane guy, give it a rest. Unless you're going to wear the Tour de France uniform on a day like today, don't be a sissy. You commit year round.
Oh, man, that is so cool.
What,
I don't
what
know
name,
how you
what
guys
name,
do it.
What name did you call Curtis at the start of the show?
Oh, you got to have to go back and listen.
Okay, because I was like, what? I was like, there's a Curtis Anderson on the show now? Who's working in the background there?
I like, he hasn't, Curtis hasn't been here, he said, and it's almost a month. He hasn't been in the fold with us. Almost of December 19th was his last show. And he comes in and he's actually pretty jovial today. So we should actually get your little book out, Colson, and take notes on when he becomes jaded again and starts being a prick. Take that. No, but he's been good today. So far. We got a lot to get to. Andrew Harris, right? Riders running back coach. They announced him today. 4-time Grey Cup champ, Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Toronto Argonaut, BC Lion. What did you think that was? Someone hijacked the Roughriders email system.
So when I saw this, so let me pull up my phone because you know how you get like a teaser line in the email. Oh, no, here, where is it? And it says, it's from Ariel, who does press for awesome PR person for the Riders. It's all I can see in the preview is 4-time Grey Cup champion and then ... And I looked at that this morning, 7:01. I'm like, what? And I click in and I was like, didn't have that on my bingo card. I did not. Here's the thing. I'm going to be okay with it. But right now, for the most part, Andrew Harris is a sworn enemy who for a lot of years played for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and was a bit of a rider killer for a while. I still don't know how he didn't get kicked out of that Labor Day game for swinging his helmet. He could apologize for that, and I hope that he does. I will be okay with this. Just at the moment, it's a lot to absorb because, wow, did not see this one coming.
Dave Thomas is speaking with them as we speak here, so we will have some audio coming through, like I said, definitely within the hour. I always liked him. Always respected him. Just rubbed it in our nose a bit, which I'm okay with.
Oh, yeah.
Reminded me a lot.
I loved him.
A lot. I'm trying to think. Mike Cornish. Can we put him in the same camp as Cornish? Colson?
I can agree.
I think
with
on the
Cornish comparison.
The durability. Hey, don't get me wrong. I would have loved him as a rider all day long. Don't get, because like I said, it's just a jealousy thing. That's all it is. That's why I need a little time to get over this.
How long will it take you to get to turn to the other side? Are you
I don't know.
Will you speak to somebody about it?
No, give me a day or two, and the next thing you know, once the pictures come out of him press conference at Mosaic, he's in front of like the logo and stuff like that. He's probably got some rider gear on already. Like a lot of us will be okay, but understandably, but that's the passion of this game, to have such strong emotion. Because if they would have hired some guy to be like,
yeah. And Riders' new running back coach, Curtis Anderson. It's like, who? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't matter. No, this is a good one.
Somebody pointed out on Twitter, it will be incredibly awesome in November when the Riders win the Grey Cup in Winnipeg and Harris is part of the Riders coaching staff and he gets handed the trophy. That'll make it A-okay by then.
Over, under. When's the season start? What's the first game here? Okay.
June 5th.
May 20.
Ottawa.
May 20. Yeah, June 5th. Okay, I'm going preseason though. May 24th.
Preseason.
Over, under 65 days from May 24th that there's a push to have him play.
Ooh, I didn't think of that wrinkle.
Well, he's only a year out. Like, think of it as an injury. He doesn't look like he's let himself go. Looks like he's still a bike lane guy or jogging guy. That's going to happen. Shoot, last year we were asking Darian Durant if he could sling it for a quarter or two, and he said he could.
I know.
Remember
He
that?
said he couldn't run, but he could. Yeah, but he could eat him up just by throwing it around the yard. I really like that. Well, same.
Last
every
year
time
it was
we
an
have Charleston,
offensive line thing. Last year it was like, hey, Makowski, can you, any chance you can just throw a few guys around? No, but somebody's going to ask. It's going to be a push for it.
Hey, if push come to shove and it meant, and he's Canadian, yeah. Trust me, this was so, and maybe everybody in the know when it comes to the Riders, like, oh yeah, this was coming down the pipe for a long time, everybody. But I think there's a lot of us out there a little shocked, especially because, you saw it on the news. But like you said, didn't Arash say he called this last year?
Yeah, he cannot wait to come on the program tomorrow. Like, he's got the receipt, he's got the screenshot of when he did it, when he said it, how he said it, everything. Arash.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, Mace was with him in Toronto when he was wrapping up his career.
And then there's the AJ Ouellette. There's the tie there.
Yeah.
And then Coulson, you said that there's a little Jamarcus Hardrick.
Yeah, Hardrick was in BC with Harris, and then Winnipeg with Harris, and now here with Harris. So, yeah, I didn't even put together that it would have been with Yoshi this whole time, too.
Mm-hmm. Curtis, what do you got?
Just on Andrew Harris playing, he's 1 year younger than Trevor Harris. So, if that puts in perspective.
And running backs a lot. But I get it. And he's only 1 year out. 37 years old. 37-year-old running back. Again, we don't need you. We need you for half. You got a half in you?
Hey, every time we have Charleston Hughes on, he says he could still play, and I don't doubt it. Like he said, if 8 sacks is winning the CFL sack title, like he said he'd have that by half a season. I think we're going to try and get him on Wednesday. Because he called before Christmas, he called the Jameer Thurman thing and said, Jameer Thurman's going nowhere. He's going to re-sign with the Riders. So he's Nostradamus. He was 100% correct on that.
That's like saying it's going to warm up. To me.
Still.
Coulson,
At the time.
The over-under on 65 days would put us around week 8, week 9, for if Andrew Harris is going to play again.
There's for sure. Hammer that bet.
That would be...
There will be a push.
July 25th, Edmonton is here, and then August 2nd, when we're in Montreal. In between those two games, somewhere when that, according to Barney, when that question would start being asked.
Look at that. There'll be people that ask that question well before. It's just a matter of we need the relative or the important people. Anybody of importance asks a question. If he looks good in that City and green jersey. Remember when he came, where was that, in Hamilton last year? That he put that on?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, ooh. And everyone in Winnipeg, a lot of the Winnipeg people, their heads were exploding. Great troll job of Edmonton.
Yep.
Of Winnipeg, the Winnipeg people. And then the Grey Cups, the picture that they had. And all that. No, that's good. That's good, clean fun right there. Is our I know there's the fellas in Winnipeg that listen all the time. We're looking at you guys to chime in on that. The text line, Maz, 936-6262. If you want to participate in the program, be our guest. Maybe jogger guy was running from a B&E. It's even too cold to be doing B&Es. That's how cold it is. You're just hunkering down and you're game planning for later. It's too cold for any of that.
It'd be great to talk to a cop. Yeah, just to see if the crime does go down when it gets super cold.
Oh, I had to drive to Saudi last night for a hockey practice with the kids, and in this weather, I know a lot of good first responders, RCMP, city cops. Good on you guys out there for the stuff you got to put up with in this weather. Firefighters, EMT, construction, anybody working in this weather. Wow. Good on you. There was we had radar at the bottom of the hill there, the Coupelle Valley, going to Saudi. And I was like, buddy,
Nice.
you don't want to get out of that ride. You don't want to go through the whole hand me your ID. Like, really? What do we, like, I guess 140, 150 on a single lane? What would be the threshold in that weather, that coldness to pull someone over? What you going? 128. That's okay today. That's too cold. It has
First
to be.
thing would have
That's
been
got to
like-
be going through his head. And then what is he sitting in that truck all nice and warm? You know he doesn't have probably long johns on, anything. So he's either sweating or he's cold. And not today. Boss said you have to go out and do some radar. Hey, I did it. I put in a college try.
Yeah, I always wonder about that. Like when they tell you to go do something, to be like, or you know what? I remember getting a U-turn ticket, dropping the kids off at school one day. It was our daughter at kindergarten.
You can't do that.
No,
in
I
a
was
school
picking her
zone.
up. No, okay, so and there was a sign. Trust me, I was completely wrong and guilty, but it's a spot everybody did it. You just needed to go because the school's in residential and coming around, and it was this old cop, and I was just kind of like, wow, that's dedication because you've probably been doing this for years, as opposed to maybe like, yeah, I don't really feel like busting moms and dads in minivans out front of like elementary schools for doing U-turns when there's no traffic. Like maybe not today. Like, can you play Dodge Boss, or do they have a GPS on you and know exactly where you are at all times, knowing if you're not doing what you're supposed to do?
No, they do.
It was $165 plus fees for that ticket.
Yeah, well, that's the trend. They've built that brand. Do not U-turn in school zones. I still see people do it on the weekly, and I'm like, oh, you're lucky. Today you're lucky. Tomorrow not so lucky. Those stupid radar cameras on Ring Road. I have run a year and a half of dodging, and I'm so good. The other day on the phone with my mom, elderly, because she can't pay her security bill. It comes now to me in an email, and she hasn't been paying it on her credit. It's just a whole. And I'm trying to explain. She's like, "Well, I haven't got the bill." You're not going to get the bill. It comes in an email to me. It's how they do it now. Well, they need to send me a bill. Okay, listen. They're not sending you a bill. There's nothing. Hey, you stubborn Ukrainian ladies and men out there, you get where I'm coming from. And she's just not going. She's not going down without a fight. Well, then they don't need my business. Oh, and meanwhile, I'm cruising along, and I'm like, oh crap, forgot to slow down. I'm about 109. Now I'm 9 over. Will I get dinged there?
I always wonder what the threshold is to do it, but knock on wood. And I don't know. You're married when you hide certain things, like mail, like photo radar tickets in the mail, to be like, she never needs to know about this because I'm never going to hear the end of it. But then I thought I was being smart. I paid it and I threw it away. But then she never goes online to check the banking, goes online and sees like, what is this payment to the government? I'm like, couldn't not. Oh, don't tell me there's not stuff you hide from your wife. Like, and like that's it. Other than that, like it's pretty open. But I just didn't need the grief because she had said, "Hey, you're gonna get a ticket." You know what?
I'm really trying to rack my brain here. There isn't a lot that I hide. I don't do a lot besides like the odd trip and golf. So she pretty much knows all of that stuff. Other than that, it's pretty boring over here. But my wife tried to hide an accident once in one of her units.
What?
Oh yeah. Yeah. There was this big elaborate story on how this went down, basically to make me be like, oh, I'm so glad you're safe. It's not how it went down. Then the dude that hit her tried picking her up, like contacting her after. She's like, happily married, bud. You gonna get that claim done by SGI, by the way? Yeah. It was like she tried. It was so funny. I can't remember exactly how it was, and I'm just like, you're cute. You're an awful criminal, but you're cute. It was like bad trying to hide it. Yeah, no.
Hiding
it's
an
cold.
accident? I think
Not
an
like from
accident
me,
over a
not
photo radar
from
ticket.
not from society, from me.
No, I know, but I'm like, okay, that just trump what I an accident is 10 times, and that's 10x a photo radar ticket. It's 10x a photo radar ticket.
So I'm waiting to find out if I think it was 109. I could be getting it in the mail. Don't check the mail very often though. That's another thing. How's your family for checking mail? Like we got to go to the box. I'm sure that's
Me too. We lost one of the mail keys about 5-6 years ago, so we only have one, and it's on my car key, so I check all the time. But still, even since the mail's been back, we're still liquor store, pizza menus, realtor, notepads, the odd piece of mail, but everything else, like I said, is email now. It's just some advertising, and that's pretty much it. So, and
I get tons of spam.
My Aunt Kathy, we just got her Christmas card the other day.
Yeah, where does she live?
Northern Saskatchewan, but she mailed it at the height of the strike. I think she mailed it during the strike, but eventually came through. So, yeah.
Like Northern Saskatchewan is in like Buffalo Narrows or like PA? Well, take some time, I would suspect.
Larange-ish area. Larange, not
Okay.
Larange proper, Larange Central.
Yeah. I don't check it. Don't check it enough. Usually get the kids to run across. You go and check.
Ex-cop texting in. Threshold is usually 9.
Oh, that's gonna be tough then. That's for the photo radar, or that's for them. I know
For them, it's 9.
for them it can be double lane highway. You can. I think it's like 14. So if it's 110, usually 120. Unless the guy's or girls having a bad day, they can pull you over for whatever the heck they want.
Yeah, I was going to say, for them, I think by law it's 10, but based on their feelings, they can kind of make the call.
Thanks for the text.
Yeah, and first of all, 2 questions. A question and a comment. Why are they an ex-cop? Are they retired? Say retired, because if it's an ex, there's a story there. We want to know it. And the other thing, too, I think a lot of it has to do with the vehicle. Like, if you're driving something humble and you're like 3 or 4 over, you're fine. But if you're driving like a Subaru with a fin on the back with that pipe on it, you're probably getting pulled over. Loud muffler kid, like you're probably getting pulled over.
Yeah,
no
or
one in a
midlife
caravan
crisis.
is getting pulled over. Yeah, midlife crisis van
guy.
No, not a chance. With 3 car seats in the back, no way.
And just yeah, that's a good point. I don't even know if they look at that close, though. I'd like, hey, ex-cop guy, can you let us know? Or 6-inch lift truck. Here he goes. 6-inch lift truck with hitch balls hanging from the back. Yeah, that was a different guy that texted in that, but that is true. I wonder if they do look through it and be like, oh, look at that guy. He's had a rough day.
For sure. Like I said, if you drive something humble, and like I said, if you're doing that's probably, but like I said, if you're flashy and you're breaking the law, you're probably drawing attention to yourself.
We're getting some good text messages in too on the Andrew Harris in Riderville running back coach. Some of them we can't read. People being funny out there today. But yeah, you can always have your say. 936-6262. Still nothing on McDavid? Nothing? No suspension? All that? Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to recap a heck of a day, hockey day in Saskatchewan, in Kenora, Saskatchewan. What a ride it was for 24-ish hours. It's the all-new Sportscage. You're streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM.
The all-new Sports Cage is brought to you by Sherwood Co-op, proud supporter of our community with over 500 donations to local charities and nonprofits annually.
Croft Electric. You've probably heard of us because we've been around for over 27 years. We do commercial and residential work? Yes. We do permanent holiday lighting? Yes. We do cabins? Yes. And farms? Yes and yes. We're an authorized Generac generator dealer. We are a full-service electrical company with the experience and the people to service all of your electrical needs. We are Croft Electric. We will be here when you need us. Do it right, do it once. Follow us on all social and call 306-586-1333 to book.
Every Sunday morning, wake up to country music legends on 620 CKRM. Sunday Morning Classics. Celebrate the legends that paved the way and define the heart and soul of country music. Relive the unforgettable classic hits and the legacy of country's greatest artists. Join us this Sunday and every Sunday as we honor the icons who brought country music to life. It's a journey through the rich history of country music. Sunday Morning Classics for Regina Funeral Home and Cemetery. Sundays at 8 a.m. on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
Clear your calendar for Manitoba Egg Days, happening January 21st through 23rd at the Keystone Centre in Brandon. This year, you can take in over 550 exhibitors, including the new Produced on the Prairies Market. And with 34 entries in the Innovation Showcase and over 60 complimentary speakers, you won't want to miss this year's show. You can find all the info you need and purchase admission tickets at eggdays.com. Manitoba Egg Days, where the egg year begins.
Listen weekdays at noon for Saskag Today on 620 CKRM with your host Ryan Young along with Doug Falconer and Kevin Hirsch, offering the most extensive agricultural news coverage with precision weather meteorologists. In an industry that moves fast, stay updated with the latest, most reliable information in ag news, prices and trends, all in one place. Available anytime at saskagtoday.com. Saskag Today, your trusted source for all things agriculture on 620 CKRM.
The all-new Sports Cage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports, 620 CKRM.
It's Wing Wednesday coming up at the Canadian Brew House. Only 69 cents each and a mountain of flavors to savor and a flavor of the month. You can do that wing thing every Wednesday at the Canadian Brew House. 2 locations in Regina, 1 in Moose Jaw. Nothing coming down yet on Connor McDavid, and we're still waiting to hear from new running back coach Andrew Harris. Dave Thomas is having a chat with him as we speak. We'll get that to you in a bit. K-Maz, so on the weekend, starting last week, it was Hockey Day in Saskatchewan in Kenora, Saskatchewan. You ever been to Kenora, Saskatchewan?
Yeah, had an Uncle Steve and an Aunt Irene that lived just outside Kenora. That's heavy pierogi curtain country.
Yes, you are welcomed when you drive into the town. There is a statue of a beautiful Ukrainian lady holding the bread and the salt. That's the welcoming pieces, and she goes by the name of Lesia, is what they call her. And from that point on, I felt at home. And the people, I wrote down some names. It's on the sheet. I only have it.
And you're the worst with names in person. I can only imagine. You actually wrote them down. That's a new leaf for you. Holy New Year, new you.
There was Parker. There was Stacy. There was Dean. Cheech. Cheech had he was a homebrew guy. He was the shuttle driver for us. He wasn't drinking when he was doing it. He was a shuttle driver until 6:00, and then someone else took over. They just bend over backwards to make everything go smooth, make sure everything is to a T. Brandon, who I did the show with, who I do the Monday Nooner podcast with, the roads were so bad on Friday morning driving that way. So from, I don't know, Regina basically to Yorkton. It was to Melville. It was really bad, and then there was ice covered. Brandon, we get about 40 minutes in. Brandon's like, "Oh, I didn't bring any socks." All he's got a suit he's wearing. He's like, "All I got are like white sport ankle socks," and I'm like, "Well, I think I got an extra pair, or whatever." So we go. Of course, we hit the Chinese restaurant in town for lunch once we get there. Raymond's, 12 out of 10, by the way. And then right beside Raymond's is a Red Apple, like any good town. And he's like, I'm like, there's your socks. There's your sock situation covered right there. So he rolls into the Red Apple, grabs himself a 6-pack of Hanes socks, dress socks. Said it was a heck of a deal, actually. Then we get to do the sports cage from the hall. He doesn't have earbuds. Cheech drives him to the Red Apple, picks up a 3-pack of earbuds. So we're just stimulating the economy. We're having a great time. Everything was well. And then the evening, Don Chesney spoke. Sorry, go ahead.
Just wait. So is Cheech real name or nickname? Or did you get a backstory?
Nickname. Yeah. Good Ukrainian fellow. Like not Cheech Morin. Like, yeah. And yeah. So he
the Double C's minds are just blown right now. They have no idea who Cheech Morin is. They have no idea.
Yeah. We needed something printed, and then this Parker went to his house and got something printed for us. And then this, so we're at this point we're feeling a little bit high maintenance, but we need this to go down. Brandon's getting driven to get headphones. So have I ever told you the story that I'm like super crampy? Like when I cramp up, it is like the worst. Legs, walking golfing in the summer, it's awful. And it's like, oh, you got to drink more water. You got to put in electrolytes. You got to da.
Electrolytes.
And none of that works. Trust me. And I got these like Ukrainian legs that when they cramp up, it's like so painful. So anyways, I'm laughing so hard at Don Chesney when I have him on the sports cage, and then he's telling these stories. My guts are hurting that I'm cramping. So I'm walking around from like 6 to 6:30, crouched over in pain because I've cramped so much. And then I can't find any mustard. I'm going through the fridge in the curling rink. I need some mustard to alleviate these cramps. Yeah. So then Parker, I'm like, dude, is there any way I can get into the hockey rink next door? Because they'll have mustard. And he goes, excuse me? And I was like, trust me, I just need some mustard. I'm super crampy right now. And he goes, well, this takes the cake. You guys are hilarious. Yeah. So he takes me to where the midnight lunch was upstairs. And what do they have when there's a midnight lunch? Buns, meat, cheese, mustard. So there. Yeah, everything was done.
Room temperature.
The night went off without a hitch. Marty McSorley. Someone's fishing. Someone bought the auction prize. They're fishing with Marty McSorley today was the prize. Ice fishing.
Could you imagine the stories Marty McSorley could tell? I wouldn't even care if we put a line in the water. Let's sit there. Just tell stories. I don't care about fish. You're Marty McSorley. You used to protect Wayne Gretzky. Just go. Whatever. There's not going to be a bad story in there.
That's why the gentleman, I think, bought it, because they were just like, well, we get a bottle of hooch, and we go to this ice fishing shack. Parker was the lead. He was helping set it all up. And the fellas went and probably had a day today. Brad Cameron from Saskatoon texting in. Do you know who won the ice fishing trip with Marty McSorley today from Hockey Day in Saskatchewan this weekend? Where did they go fishing? Oh, they said where they were going. I can't remember the exact spot.
So do you think Parker and Cheech, when they saw the taillights of your car leaving town, you think that they were relieved to be like, maybe this never happens again, but that was enough for a lifetime? Because you're going to be known as Mustard. If you can't remember their name, they can't remember yours. You're just Mustard Guy and No Sock Guy and good riddance. Never come back, okay?
Marty, you know what one really cool story that Marty McSorley told? Because we talked about it before, and then I led into it in the hot stove. The most scared he's ever seen Wayne Gretzky. And no, you never heard the story? It was when Monica Seles got stabbed by that lunatic fan while playing tennis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That shook Wayne something fierce. Like Marty was like, because the old Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens and then Montreal, the old Forum, like the fans are right there. Like they basically walk on the bench to go and rip a dart or have a drink or whatever. And Wayne was just rattled over that. So Yeah, it's that was a good one.
I remember around that time, Roddy Piper, and this was in some biography or documentary about him. He used to wear a very heavy leather jacket, or sometimes 2 leather jackets, because he had been stabbed by a fan before, and a lot of people, because of the character that he played, like thought it was real, and they would want to try and injure him and stab him. So he would wear sometimes a double leather jacket because it was very hard, for the blade to go through, because he had been stabbed by a fan before at an event. So he's not the only one that had to worry about. That's understandable.
Yeah. Lots of money raised. Silent auctions. Awesome. Yeah. Kenora. You guys put on a show. And then Saturday, the Pat Canadians played the Maulers. There was a junior A game. There was minor hockey games all throughout the day. Female AAA game during the day. They just did a great job. And they're telling us stories about the rink out there, the original rink, how it burnt down in the 60s, just 1959, 60, something like that. Sorry if I'm off by a few years. And they constructed this new rink in 4 months. They had this new rink up and operational, and everyone was like, that's amazing. Wow, this is awesome. Problem is they didn't clear the rink that burnt down properly. They basically just built on top of it. So now there's shifting issues and all these things. So they need a new rink there. This hopefully starts getting some of the funds towards that, because it's not cheap to build a hockey rink, as we all know. But next year, I think they say it goes back to southwestern Saskatchewan. So Swift Current, Leader, Shaunavon, all those towns. And then there's an application process that people put out for. Yeah, it was great though. I'm telling you, it was so awesome. It looks like we do have some audio from new Rider running back coach Andrew Harris. Let's take a quick break. We'll hear that when we get back. It is the Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com.
CoolBet has all the hot games. For all the free-to-play casino games, head to coolbet.co. They've got sports odds, including Saskatchewan senior hockey, plus all the sports odds you can think of. From the ice to the field to the court, CoolBet has you covered. All at your fingertips. No risk, just thrill. So why wait? Get in the game and embrace the unexpected at coolbet.co.
So, it's love?
Maybe.
Tell.
We met at the club. He's cute, hot dancer, fun, funny, whatever. But here's the thing.
What?
He tells me he likes being the designated driver because it's a great way to meet chicks.
And you believed him?
Drove me home. Sober. Did I mention he was cute?
Twice, actually. There are always options. Drinking and driving isn't one of them. A message from this station and the Brewers of Canada.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
Hello there, this is George Leith, Managing Partner at Harvard Media. I'm proud to announce that SaskToday.ca is now under local Saskatchewan ownership. Sask Today's team of local journalists are on the ground in communities across the province. We focus on local topics that matter to you: community news, agriculture, business commentary, local sports in our all-new Sports Cage, and more. Visit and bookmark SaskToday.ca and sign up for our daily news digest. SaskToday.ca, from Harvard Media, everywhere.
The all-new Sports Cage is live streaming from our Century Studios in downtown Regina. Watch now at sportscage.com. Be part of the show by texting 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back. The all-new Sports Cage. Barney Shinkaruk, Chris Mazurek, Colson, and Curtis on this Monday for Kellen Solar. They have the experience, 35 years of getting water from a dugout or well without electricity. You can visit kellensolar.com and find out more for your livestock operation. Oh, there's a gig when it's this cold out. Anything in the livestock producer, you have to go outside and move the cattle around and get them in. I don't even know how it works. Like, you just put them in your living room, whatever you do.
Okay, just the fact that if you have livestock, they need to be fed, they need to be watered, even if they're in a barn, Barney, that you would have to go and you can't hide in the house and watch Netflix or play on your iPad like the kids do now.
I was being facetious. I'm definitely aware. Played hockey in Abbey, Saskatchewan. I got a real crash course in livestock operations out there. And yeah, those guys had to get up in the morning. I remember spending the night a couple times. And I'm like, where are you guys going? Got to go take care of the cows. It's like, -4, it's -52 out. What do you... Wow, I don't have to come, do I? City kid in my sun ice jacket, my boat shoes. Yeah, no. If you're out there doing that, whoa. Kellen Solar sponsors the Monday program. All right, Andrew Harris is in the fold. Riders running back coach, 4-time Grey Cup champion. We have been talking about it and teasing it. Andrew Harris was asked just moments ago how he could keep AJ Ouellette healthy and available to play next season. Harris says when he was in Winnipeg, he changed his workout routine to help him with that.
In Winnipeg, I barely worked out. I was just doing yoga, spin classes, Pilates, just trying to be as flexible and mobile as possible. And I think, and AJ's still got a lot of years left. All of our backs are still relatively young and got lots of life left. But again, I think the big piece now, and you're seeing it more and more, is this mobility piece, and you're just functioning and you're able to, do different movements and be in different uncomfortable positions and still be able to be explosive, still be able to, get out of cuts when your body's, completely going the other way and you're on the outside of your foot and you can still get off that cut and get out of there. So just little details like that, I think is, really helps you, take the load off your body because you're able to do things a little bit smoother and more have more ability. And I think ultimately that will, instead of always being stiff and fighting everything, it bodes well for, in theory, and again, any injury can come at any point in time, but the overall ground and pound of your body for the long run will be better off that way.
Yeah, I guess, right? Guy that's gone through it, that knows it. I would think that AJ would know that, though.
Well, I can understand, especially last year. Maybe if he stayed in Toronto, it's different. He had nothing to prove because they knew who he was. But he comes here. He knows the fan base. People are nuts, trying to make a good impression. But in trying to make a good impression, and it's not his fault, he only ended up playing 8 games for the Riders. And when I had to check that, I was like, really? Because it was sparse. It was spaced out. He'd be in, then he'd be out. And even in the games he was in, something would happen and it looks like he'd be laboring and you're like, oh man, like you feel for the guy. So maybe it's kind of like, you're good. You got the gig. Just, we need you. Okay. Like, we love the Dan Campbell run through a wall game 1, but it's a long season. Maybe just ramp things up. And who knows, maybe, and this is a coaching staff thing, do they got to do a little load management on him where you got to have 2 backs in on the roster at all times just to spell them off?
Absolutely. It is load management season, all season for AJ Ouellette. He can't play the full season running the way he does. I don't know how many, if he's actually played every game in one of his CFL careers.
I got it right here. His first year was 2019, played 3 games. 21 played 5, 22 played 12, and 2023 played 15 games. So he hasn't played a full season his whole career. 2015, he pretty much played the full year. Those were resting days at the end of it when he wasn't playing. So, yeah, I don't know. He's 29, so yeah, he's still got a few years on him, like Andrew Harris was saying. And Harris has played since 2010 to 2023, so a 13-year career. Played more full seasons than not, just looking at it quickly here. So
yeah, no, Andrew Harris was durable. Yeah, he was durable. And the other thing too is the Bombers did not shy away from using him. early in the season, late in games, it didn't matter. Andrew Harris was, like I said, it's more jealousy because he seemed to always be healthy. He always had good games against the Riders, it seemed. And when he would fall forward, and he would always get that extra half yard, and they'd always end up getting a first down because of it. He always would fall the right way.
Well, maybe not always.
Pretty close. But more often than pretty close.
Yeah. No, we talk about how it's a 2-quarterback league.
This is a 2 to 3 running back league.
2 to 3 running
sure.
backs.
Yeah. Look how and keep in mind, one of the bright spots for the Eskimos last year, which made them hard to defend when they actually were playing well. They had a ton of other problems. Using the 3 running backs, besides the fact you didn't have any idea who was going to get the ball, everybody was fresh. So late in the game, when they could still run, it was tough to stop. You need at least 2. You can't just have 1 on the roster.
It's we got more audio, more juicy audio for you here. What do we got? He's going from obviously being a teammate of AJ Ouellette to his coach. Harris has already spoken with Ouellette, and Harris is excited to bring out the best in AJ.
Yeah, so one of the things I was talking to AJ about is the guy obviously is very physically gifted and works hard at being as strong as possible. I'm challenging him now to kind of focus on being as dynamic and mobile as possible. I don't think he can get any stronger, quite honestly, and he doesn't need to be any stronger. He's already, if you can squat 700 pounds or whatever it is that he's squatting, I don't think there's another player in the league that's even getting close to that. So, he's already the best at that and the strongest at that. So let's try to challenge him now to be a little more mobile, dynamic, and I think that'll bode well for just longevity. It'll help him break more tackles because he'll be able to be, he'll be able to bounce off and have more balance and his body be able to contort and move in different ways that it wasn't able to. So that's my challenge to him. AJ's a very, very smart player. He studies hard. He sees the holes well. He reads defense as well. And, so just working within that, on top of this mobility piece now, I think we're going to see some great things from AJ and all the backs this year.
All right. And then, the last one I want to touch on right now, he feels it's the right time to return to football. However, he isn't sure if he wants to be involved in the game as a coach or general manager. Saskatchewan is going to afford him the opportunity to do some scouting and coaching, obviously, this season.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Jeremy today and just kind of said, I want to be a sponge here. And this is really the opportunity that came up and I think the one that would have been most natural for me. I think if I would have gone into scouting or something right away, would have been good, but this is a good transition into getting, reintroduced back into the CFL. There's lots of draft prep and, looking, I got a group of running backs I got to look at and scout. So it's just a foot in the door right now. And obviously, the one thing I know the most about is playing running back. So, it's a good place to start, to kind of figure out, which way I want to go. But I'm just excited about the role I have today and really just want to be the best at it as possible. I'm not really looking too far ahead of how it's all gonna play out. I'm gonna take it day by day, come to work with my hard hat and lunch pail and again just try to make the team as best as it can be.
Ooh, day by day, lunch pail, hard hat in the same, 2 big cliches in the same answer. Cliche guy.
I think he knows who he's talking to in Rider Nation. Like I said, it's like you're a wrestler and you're getting cheap heat from the crowd. You're going to say the right things. Hey, and you know what? And there's a lot of us will get over it. Better him being part of our staff than going to the Bombers because they're still have offensive coordinator spot to fill and all of that. So he was one of the best to play in the CFL in this modern era. So happy to have him. Just he needs to apologize for Labor Day 2019 when he swung his helmet. That's it. It was Cody. He should have been booted from the game because I think we lost. I think we ended up losing the game. And did we lose home field advantage because of that?
I'm definitely gonna. If I get a chance to interview him in the next week or so, I'm gonna say that Maz wants a public apology.
I'm not the only one.
That. No?
That Colson or Curtis, can you find the clip from Labor Day where he swings his helmet in the end zone? I've seen you guys pull up all sorts of things.
Work on that. Let's go to the last clip here as he speaks about his approach to coaching and how he can make the Rough Rider running backs better.
Yeah, I think the first thing is understanding your guys and getting to know their strengths and weaknesses, and everyone has different ways of learning and growing. And that to me is kind of, I feel like, my strength of recognizing those things and getting the best out of people. So again, just understanding what I have in the room, how to better them, and what I can offer them. Now, as far as what I can offer them is, I was never the fastest, strongest, biggest, quickest dude. My edge was always my effort, and my edge was always the way I studied the game. And it was all self-taught, really. The way I, break games down, break down individual players I'm going against. And I feel like my best gift as a player, which came from film study, was learning how to take a 3-yard gain and turn it into a 6, or a 5-yard gain and turn that to an 8, or an 8-yard gain and turn it into a 15. So little intangibles that you can work every day and in practice, and just finesse it over and over and over again. That's what I'm going to bring to the table for the Riders this year. And a lot more. But for me, that was my edge, which you need to. It takes time to kind of perfect and get down. And the guys that I have been around, in the past, are utilizing those skill sets now. AJ, was really picking it up, in the time in Toronto, and I even look at Brady and how he runs the football now, based off of some of the things I've passed down to him as well too. So things that I'm going to be able to work with these guys every day on and really help them, really going to go a long way for the team in the run game, and the success for the guys individually.
All right, we'll wait and see. For sure. It's not a bad thing. So he's got the relationship with AJ. He's got the relationship with Mace. As Colson said, he's got a bit of a relationship with Yoshi, Jamarcus Hardrick. So,
and he knows the game. He's not, sometimes when they'll bring people on a coaching staff just to get them on, but then they're in an unnatural position. Like you'll see, like somebody who was a quarterback, or the only spot open is something like a former quarterback, but they've got to start somewhere. So they're like the tight ends coach for some reason because they just need a spot. He's in his natural position. So
that's kind of like Mark Mueller.
He was one of the best. I
felt Mark Mueller in Calgary was that. Yeah.
He started on the defensive side of the football, but a job's a job, right? They say do this. I mean, we all started as something different, and it's maybe not what you want to do, but it's what you'll do.
I was a livestock farmer, as you could tell. You were in my previous life. No, I definitely wasn't. I'm not that tough, not made out to do anything outside in this weather. Okay, we got to take a quick break. It's an hour in. Coming back, Eric Francis is going to join us. Who knows where that is going to go? That's always a interesting ride on a Monday. It is the all-new Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on the mighty 620 CKRM.
It's time to turn up the heat on trades at Crestview. For a limited time, get a $2,500 trade-in bonus on any trade-in. We're going to work to get you the same or similar payment to what you got right now. And we got something for everybody. Over 200 brand new vehicles, Jeeps, Rams, Caravans, and so much more. Plus, Capital's 100K giveaway is back in Crestview. Check out capital100k.ca for your chance to win. We're turning up the heat on trades at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
Looking for a way to relax after a long day? Come on. Tired of being notified by life's bells and whistles?
Yeah, I'm gonna need that draft tomorrow.
When you're ready to stop working so hard, you know it's time to play. Yes. It's easy to find your next favorite game at Bodog.net. Play free casino games, check out our beginner's guides, and get poker tips. Visit Bodog.net today. #Make a play.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. It's mostly sunny and it's minus 28 in Regina. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News. A 33-year-old Calgary man faces multiple charges after Regina police found him with a loaded firearm on Sunday evening. Officers were called to the 1500 block of 12th Avenue at around 7:30 p.m. after a mandatory bag check revealed the weapon. Police arrested the suspect without incident and confirmed the firearm belonged to him. He is charged with several offenses, including possession of a loaded firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, and failing to comply with a court order. He made his first court appearance this morning in Regina Provincial Court. As Donald Trump returns to the White House, thousands of people were wearing Trump toques and hats. They've been braving the frigid weather in Washington for inaugural events. Today is a federal holiday, so many of the people who otherwise would be filling the streets heading to work opted to stay away from the celebrations, leaving the area largely to Trump supporters. Kenneth Johnson is visiting from Nevada, and he believes Trump will use tariffs to stop other countries from taking advantage of the U.S.
What Trump did 4 years ago with the tariffs was just helping America out as well as helping the other countries out. I mean, we can't have one-sided ways. Canada, China, Russia, all these countries keep taking advantage of America as long as we had Biden in office because Biden was too stupid.
People selling Trump merchandise lined the streets as supporters in the crowd say they're thrilled about Trump's return. Of 61 cases of salmonella across Canada linked to recalled mini pastries, the Public Health Agency of Canada says 2 are in Alberta. The agency says the sweet cream brand mini pastries have been distributed at bakeries, hotels, restaurants, cafeterias, and hospitals and catered events. The warning comes on the heels of another salmonella-related recall of eggs issued this weekend, although there have been no reported illnesses associated with the eggs. The egg recall covers Compliments, Foremost, Golden Valley Eggs, IGA, No Name, and Western Family eggs with expiry dates of February 16th, February 22nd, and March 1st. A teen has pleaded guilty to charges of killing 3 girls and wounding 10 other people in a stabbing rampage at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class in England last summer.
Axel Rudakubana faces trial at Liverpool Crown Court on 3 counts of murder, 10 counts of attempted murder, and additional charges related to possessing the poison ricin and for having an Al-Qaeda manual. The July 29 stabbings led to a week of rioting across parts of England and Northern Ireland after the suspect was falsely identified as an asylum seeker who had recently arrived in Britain by boat, when in fact he was born in Wales. Karen Shamas, London.
And the Keke Palmer buddy comedy One of Them Days has opened in first place on the North American box office charts on a particularly slow Martin Luther King Jr. holiday weekend. According to studio estimates on Sunday, the R-rated movie earned $11.6 million through Sunday, beating Disney's Mufasa the Lion King by a hair. By the end of Monday's holiday, however, Mufasa will have the edge. That's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
It's 1995. Rachel and Mulder are hooking up their new VCR when they realize they need to replace their carpet with glossy tile-patterned linoleum. Why? 90s flooring trends were wild, so be thankful it's 2024 and that Flooring Superstore has what you want. From vinyl plank, vinyl tile, hardwood, laminate, and everything in between, their stock is immediately available with professional installation for residential or commercial spaces. Flooring Superstore. Quality floor covering at the best price. FlooringSuperstoreRegina.ca.
Tiny toppings and cardboard-flavored carbs are not what you get when you order from Western Pizza. But they haven't just perfected pizza. No, my friend, add Caesar salad to that list, along with satisfying garlic toast, baked lasagna, crispy chicken wings, and every other item on their extensive menu. Western Pizza makes food for hungry people. So if you're only kinda sorta hungry, you should invite more people. Western Pizza, big on toppings, big on taste.
And now it's time for your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast for Line X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Tonight, thickening cloud and the temperature rising to -12 overnight. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and a high of -4. And on Wednesday, light snow and a high of -7. At this hour in Moose Jaw, it's sunny. Winds are from the west at 7 and it's -25. Regina is mostly sunny. Winds are from the southwest at 9 and it's -28. For more local news that matters to you, subscribe to our daily newsletter at sasktoday.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
As the snow falls, so do the prices at Crawford's No Frills. It's important to keep the cupboard stocked full with your favorite comfort foods for these long, cold winter months ahead. Crawford's No Frills is here to make sure you get exactly what you need. They keep their prices low so your spirits remain high. Warm up this winter with Crawford's No Frills. No bells, no whistles, no frills. Say yes to Crawford's No Frills. They won't be beat.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, installing solar and residential and commercial buildings for 35 years. Local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit KELLNsolar.com. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Hour 2, Barney Shinkaruk, Chris Mazurek, Colson and Curtis with you on this Monday for Kellen Solar. Andrew Harris in the fold, Riders running back coach. What else are we talking about? Still nothing on McDavid, eh? Anybody?
Tyler Myers is going to get 25 games, and Connor McDavid's going to get a, hey, could you just not? Thank you. We're not even going to fine you.
$150 fine for McDavid, and sign these jerseys so we can give them away at charity. My son wants one. And Myers, yeah, you're done for the year. Yeah. Pack it in. KHL.
And there's going to be criminal charges. And there's going to be criminal charges filed against you. Here's
seriously,
the thing.
though,
if you're... just whatever it is, they both need the exact same suspension. Myers and McDavid, because same game, kind of similar situations. That's the part that I hate about hockey is the stick work. And that's where a lot of us are like, don't ever get rid of fighting because don't use your stick, man. Is that Bouchard just taking it in the chops?
It's like they're watching the Crossroads Hockey League, that Kerrobert and Rosetown video that we played last week. That senior league.
Yeah, I saw that. That
was vicious.
That dude has to get kicked out for the year. Have they made a ruling on that yet? Because that's just dirt.
Heard.
That's old school dirty. That's old school dirty.
No, there's no place for that. Well, shouldn't say unless he does something to your kids or something, then yeah, full go, the cross check in the face. But for just getting hit into the boards or whatever, I don't know. I think I like your idea though of both getting the same. Oh, here it is. We're playing it right here. If you're watching the stream and you missed this last week, senior game in Rosetown. Watch center ice, right around center ice. There's gonna be a guy. Yep, there he is, and boom.
Boom. Oh.
Not good.
And he broke. That was a composite stick that he broke on that guy's face.
Yeah, he wasn't using wood. It's not.
What are you doing?
Okay. While we're talking hockey here and waiting for Eric Francis, shout out to Kaysen Anderson from the Estevan AAA Bears U18. It's a scary situation Friday night, I think it was, Saturday night in Estevan at the AAA game. Game was stopped, then game was canceled or postponed to play the last 10 minutes yesterday. Ambulance on the ice. Actually, it was my son that sent it to me the next morning, and I didn't know. So Kaysen he broke his tibia on the ice.
Ooh.
Yeah. So paramedics went into work, rolled onto the ice in Estevan, got him taken care of. They just said, you know what, we can play this thing tomorrow, the last 10 minutes. So contacts in Estevan did that. So yeah, Kaysen battle back. He'll be fine. Tough kid. So that was yesterday. As while we're here, and speaking of Estevan, weirdness with their SJ team, Jason Tatarnik is out in Estevan as coach. Everyone's being pretty tight-lipped about it. It's kind of sketchy. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more in the SJHL report for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks, with Benny Walchuk tomorrow. A couple of notes from the weekend. Notre Dame beat Yorkton. That game was in Kenora. That's the game I was talking about, played in Kenora. So a little bit of an upset there. Notre Dame 4-3 over Yorkton. And Flin Flon 3-2 over Kindersley. Flin Flon is on a Northern Saskatchewan, just absolute heater. They're 19-0-1-1 in their last 21 games.
I know every time when I'm filling in for you, and I'll go through the SJ standings because, you know, Humboldt's so far out in front, and you're like, wait a minute, well, Flin Flon's closing the gap.
Big time.
Like they're closing the gap. And it's funny, that Estevan situation, you're right, tight-lipped. They're in fourth place with 28 points. They're 12-18-3-1. It's not the worst, not the best, but but then it got me to thinking, is that how stable, and Jason Tatarnik would be like, hey, Maz, there's been no coaches fired in the Dub this season. There's been no other coaches fired in the SJ. There was that weirdness in North Battleford there where the coach resigned. He wasn't fired. But it's funny, though, when someone resigns, like, do they tell you you're getting fired, so we'll let you resign so you can save face and you can kind of do it your way and whatever narrative you want to spin to do that? But this Tatarnik thing, hopefully Benny can shed some light. Or here's the thing, the people in the know always know the truth, but it's now part of, we're never ever going to put that out there.
Yeah.
Well, really.
Again, SJHL report coming up tomorrow. Okay. I guess he's been waiting for a while. And when we get him on the phone here, he might be angry with us. But it's time to talk to our NHL insider.
Time now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the all-new Sportscage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Southie Mainline, the Mainline Automotive Group's newest king of trucks. Southie Mainline, just 30 minutes north of Regina, worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
Sorry, Eric, we ran a little late. I know we got you over the phone today. This will be. Usually I like watching you laugh and chuckle and all that. Is just, are you traveling? Or are you just sitting at the men's club after a workout on the phone in the lobby? What's going on?
No, I'm traveling. My wife's driving the vehicle. I don't mind waiting. I like getting caught up on all the Sasky news, boys. You're my source.
That's right.
It's all good. Yeah.
That's right. I was at Hockey Day in Saskatchewan, emceed the hot stove with Marty McSorley on Saturday night. I'm sure you've had run-ins with Marty McSorley. What an absolute beauty. What stories. He's basically living in Kenora. He's spending like 6 days there. He's ice fishing today with some people. It was part of the what is it called? Auction that they gave. So he's been there like 5-6 days. He just loves Saskatchewan.
You know, I like the way you put it. You said, I'm sure you've had run-ins with Marty McSorley. I thank God above that I've never had a run-in with Marty McSorley. I've met him many times. I've had beers with him, and you're right, he's a beauty. Like, when you talk about how hockey fans would love to sit down with some of those older guys, right? So, like, when we were kids, we watched these guys and kind of put them on a bit of a pedestal and always wondered about the stories. There's one of your guys. Like, there's a guy who, if you had a top 10 list of guys you'd like to sit down and have a beer to talk about things, Marty McSorley's got to be on that list, because he's not just, look, all those old guys from, say, the 80s Oilers teams have a million good stories, but not everybody's good at telling them or gets into telling them or enjoys telling them. He has all that ability to tell you great stories, embellish them where necessary, and put all sorts of laughs into them. He's a great storyteller and the kind of guy you'd love to have a beer with. Yeah, so I agree.
Eric, here's the thing. There's been so much drama surrounding the Vancouver Canucks this year. And you've told us before that the worst fan base online to deal with on social media are the Canucks. So we don't necessarily need to ruffle some feathers. But I feel sorry for Rick Tocchet because of the drama between the Miller and then you've got the Pettersson thing going on. And he's just trying to coach a hockey team. And then the game on the weekend. And we've been refreshing Twitter. Do you have any word on the McDavid Myers thing? Suspension's coming. Is it going to be equal justice here? Or one's a superstar, one's a marginal player? How does this shake out in your mind if you're Gary Bettman and the discipline committee?
It's fascinating, right? Because same game, same exact cross-check, same. So it's easy to just look at it and say, well, they should get the same punishment. But we all know it's not that simple. I keep meaning to look into Tyler Myers' history because history plays a big role in suspensions, right? Like if he's got no priors, then theoretically they should get the exact same thing. But my guess is Tyler Myers has some priors. I'm not calling him dirty. I'm just saying the style of game he plays and the size he is, I'm sure he's inadvertently crushed some skulls with his navel on a normal body check, at some point in time. So I do not have any insight on when the rulings are coming down, what they're going to be. If I had to guess, which of course is a fool's errand with this Department of Justice, my guess is they both get 2 games. You just can't do that. I mean, you guys showed that photo, that video again of that Saskatchewan League Beer League dude getting absolutely crushed. Like, you can't cross-check someone in the face when they're not wearing a face mask. You can't do it with a face mask on, but you definitely can't do it without the cage. So I'd say 2 games. There's no room for that. Now, I do think that it's fair comment to suggest that the refs let that get a little out of control in that game. And I don't normally like to come down on the refs just because things got a little sideways. But should there not have been a penalty or 2 on Connor Garland mauling Connor McDavid moments before that happened? To me, that would have ended the situation. Do you guys not see it that way?
Yeah, no, for sure. If you're watching the stream, here it is again. For starters, Connor Garland should get a penalty for wearing that neck thing or whatever he wears.
Yeah.
But it's. I think it's like a cut resistant, and I don't want to. But it is awful. And there was always that kid that you played against that looked weird in his gear, and you just wanted to just slash him. That's Connor Garland at the NHL level. But yeah, he's all over McDavid here. This makes no sense how they're letting this go. And then McDavid's like, all right, then take this in the chops, turtleneck guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
but to your point of in the McSorley, because on Saturday night it was the 11th anniversary of the Canucks and Flames brawl. Now keep in mind, if there were some real bruisers on either side and they were on the ice with McDavid, Draisaitl, somebody's getting hurt there. Like somebody's getting pulled out of a pile by one of the tough guys, and then it really escalates. And maybe that's the good thing, that there were no killers on the ice. It was just like the Connor Garland with his neck guard or what. Hey, listen, you're mocking player safety to do that.
But come on, like there's player safety, and then there's wearing whatever the heck that thing is. It's like he's got the full 98 degrees pop band 1990s turtleneck on underneath.
Nice.
But see, I went when I played in like the 80s. Turtlenecks were cool, right? Like I had a really sweet brown turtleneck that I'd not only wear into my hockey gear when I was like 8, 9, and 10, but then I'd rock that baby at school. I'd wash it in between, hopefully. Can't remember. But that went really well with with my green rugby pants. So like that look is terrible now, but back in the day, I'm going to defend it. Because I think turtlenecks were really cool back in the 80s.
They were making a slight comeback last year, I'm still waiting for corduroy pants to make a comeback too, as a borderline dress pant, because that's what I thought you were going to say that you wore your turtleneck with, Eric, because that combo goes hand in hand. And then, it was a Kimby. Remember Kimby Daniels from the Swift Current Broncos, Maz?
Yeah.
He wore a turtleneck. He wore a turtleneck.
I think Eric was trying to say he was Thomas Plekanec before Plekanec was ever a thing. So I think he's trying to steal some thunder here.
Call.
All right.
And in a brown.
Plekanec still wears a good
brown
turtleneck.
one. With a brown one. That one makes. What color were your jerseys? Probably like blue, red, and white. And you were the kid out there with a brown turtleneck. You're the kid I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I probably ate a couple Sherwoods because of it, but I didn't realize at the time that it wasn't cool. I thought, and as a matter of fact, I wore them for picture day for sure, because like I said, I remember actually at one point I had a white turtleneck as well, and I got my number put on the turtleneck. How's that for styling, boys?
How did you get that?
I think Eric grew up rich. He didn't grow up Saskatchewan. No.
Yeah, wow.
That's Ontario rich. That's Ontario
it was
rich
like
right
an
there.
iron-on. It was an iron-on, and I had to literally make the numbers. I don't know, I was a kind of a creative. I like cut and paste when I was a kid. What can I say? And I'd cut and paste the number 27. That was my number because of Daryl Sittler, obviously. And I put that on everything I owned, and I right on the turtleneck. Man, it was, God, when I think about it, I was cooler than I even thought.
You're driving with your wife right now and she's listening to this story?
Yeah, she's laughing, but she laughs a lot when I talk about my fashion now and then. It's different. And if we're on that topic, why is it a mock turtleneck? Is it because we still mock the actual turtleneck? Why do we go with a half turtleneck and call it a mock? Because the whole thing's laughable?
I don't know. Half as nerdy? Half as weird looking?
What's nerdier, half or full turtleneck? I don't know. I don't know where I stand on it.
Yeah, I don't know. We needed anybody out there from Eddie Bauer. Text in 936-6262. We need to get to the bottom of that. Hey, who's the most? You got something, Colson, on the turtleneck?
Quick Googling, yeah. So the difference between a mock turtleneck and a regular turtleneck is a regular one, the fabric has enough layers you can fold it down over. A mock one does not have enough layers. That is the only difference.
No. Yeah, the mock.
But it seems to me the mock doesn't go as high because of the lack of material.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
fair enough.
And there's still mock turtleneck sport coat guy that still rocks that look. Because that was a big thing for a while there. Okay, moving on from turtleneck. Unless you work at Eddie Bauer, still hit us up. Who's the most disappointing team in the West to this point right now, Eric?
Oh, it's not even close. It's Nashville by a mile. It's like I just can't see the argument, like how you could have a stronger argument for, look, when they signed Marchessault and Steven Stamkos, like it took the way that team was looked at in a completely different complexion, and the fact that they were until recently right at the bottom of the West, like there's nothing more disappointing. As a matter of fact, it's probably been a lot of years since we've seen a team be that disappointing in the West. I mean, it's I don't know if you have any runners up, but I can't really even think of who's close.
I was thinking that. And then in the East, would it be the Rangers?
Yeah. And it's funny because, 20 games in, the Rangers were the Rangers. They were just like everybody expected. And then they went in that 20-game tailspin there. I don't remember what their record was over those 20 games. Like the last 2 or 3, they've seemed to be back to a little bit more of what we expected this year. But, the Rangers have, I still see them as one of the deepest teams in the NHL, and here I am, and they're not a playoff team right now, so that's pretty scary.
So, Eric, when we talked last week about the Flames and needing to beat the Blues, because those are the teams that they have to beat in the games they have to win if they want to stay in the playoff contention, they end up losing both in the St. Louis back-to-back. But then they end up beating a very good Winnipeg Jets team. And I'm not a Flames fan. I'm not a Flames hater. But I gained all sorts of new respect because they played up to the level. And that's usually, I think, been their problem is they play down to certain teams' level. The Flames looked really good when they beat the Jets on Friday night. Do you agree?
That's a shocker. Like, yeah, especially the way they looked in St. Louis. They've got one of the worst road records in the league. They're playing against a team with the best road record in the league, in a barn that's been notoriously tough to play in, against a team that's the hottest team in the league and the top team in the league. Like, the way I looked at that game is, full marks to the Flames for winning, and they're going to play them again next Sunday in Winnipeg again. I'm guessing it's going to be a different outcome, but to me, the interesting thing about that game is that Dustin Wolf got the start, and to me, the way he played 38 saves, like he stole that game. That was a memorable moment in Flames history. Like, that was the day he's officially, this is now the Calgary Flames team, his team. This is Dustin Wolf's team. There's no more platooning anymore. They put him in. They used to shield him from starts like that where they were impossible games. This time they, pun intended, threw him to the Wolf, and there he was as the star of the game, stole the 2 points. This is Dustin Wolf's team for the next 10 years, and you'll remember that when that game is the time that he kind of put his hand up and said, "I got this. Hold my beer. I got this." It was an amazing moment, I think, for Dustin Wolf and the organization.
Somebody was talking to me the other day. It might have actually been in Kenora this weekend, where they heard us talking a week or so ago, and you were saying, like, Calgary's just in that, like, hybrid rebuild mode. Call it what you want, mock rebuild. Since we're going down the turtleneck thing, yeah. but it's like they're not giving up. They're trying to battle, and it's almost like I'm finding myself rooting for them. Like, I'm not a Flames fan by any means, but it's just like, come on, little engine that could get in.
Look, I don't care who you cheer for in the league. I think everybody agrees that the teams that are easy to cheer for are the ones with the greatest work ethic. Like, no matter what everybody tells them or where they are in the standings, they're still, hard workers. They never give up. And, that's how the Calgary Flames have somehow got into this playoff spot that they hold right now. And they've done it with a work ethic and goaltending. The goaltending is somewhat surprising because it was unproven. But I guess given his pedigree, we shouldn't be surprised because he's been a star everywhere he's played. But the work ethic is really admirable for a team that is undermanned. I mean, look at their roster. Look at all the question marks on their blue line. There are a lot of reasons why people didn't think they'd have a chance to make the playoffs this year. But they've done it with a work ethic. And who doesn't love it? Someone who just puts the pedal to the metal all the time. So, yeah, I could see where you're cheering for them. In this city, I think people were a little bit worried this year, like, oh, my God, it could be a long season. But I think people are loving this team, as much as they ever have because they just go out there and play their hearts out. So that's a very admirable trait. And, I think they are picking up more fans here at a time when I don't think people thought that they would be.
I know last week someone had mentioned that we don't talk about the Montreal Canadiens enough on this show. And Eric, quietly, they're the hottest team in the NHL lately. What are they? They 12-4 and something. But anyway, like, they've had a really good 20-game stretch here where they've kind of got themselves back into a playoff-ish race in the East. And can we call it the full?
7-2-1.
Full cut? Yeah, because did they claim full rebuild or were they hybriding it as well? Because sort of this plan is kind of paying off where they have some veterans and they have some young guy. And what did you see? What's his nickname? The dude that fought Rempe from the Rangers yesterday?
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Jack-Eye.
Jack-Eye.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. And that was a good fight. And
really good.
I don't know. There's something about Montreal that it's kind of like, I don't know, kind of slippery enough. I don't know if you'd want to play them in the first round of the playoffs because it's house money like the Flames. Nobody expected anything out of them.
No, I mean, they openly declared rebuild, but not this year. They did it several years ago and have been stockpiling picks and drafting, quite high. And so, in the next year or two, I think people were it was going to be like, okay, now enough of that rebuilding. It's time to show that you've made progress. Look, the last time we probably would have talked about Montreal, maybe 20 games ago, would have been talking about whether or not they were going to fire Marty St. Louis. Like that was the last time that they became national news because, you know, they didn't get off to the greatest start. And Marty St. Louis was taking a bit of a beating from some people, but here they are. And I would say Marty St. Louis is a big reason why he's the master motivator. And I just think hiring him was such a fascinating. I was so fascinated when they did it. He'd had like 1 or 2 seasons of like AAA midget under his belt as a coach or something like that, coaching his son. And they put him behind the bench. And I just thought, you know what? This could be a fascinating template for a guy like Jerome McGinley down the road, or basically anybody who's like revered in the hockey world. Everybody looks up to them. They're Hall of Famers. And just by virtue of standing in front of a group and being their leader, people would fall in line. And it's worked for Marty St. Louis. And I think it's opened the door up for other guys to potentially do the same thing. There are assistant coaches to do the X's and O's and work on the power play and the penalty killing and all the other stuff. The coach, his job in a lot of ways is to motivate and handle the personalities and be a psychiatrist, psychologist for 20 guys every night and establish a culture. And, man, he's done a great job with that. Whether they make the playoffs or not this year. And that game yesterday, was it yesterday? They beat the Rangers, and it was back and forth and back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're the same as the Flames that way. It's based on a work ethic and a never say die attitude, and that's pretty admirable as well. So, and that's how they've managed to climb back in this race. It's pretty cool to watch. I'm with you. I kind of enjoy watching their games too for the same reason.
And they made their turtleneck quota with Patrick Laine. So, little tidbit there. Here, do you know this tidbit, Maz? Do you know the NHL team that does not have a player going to the Four Nations Cup? It's scary to think about this.
Oh, so it should be obvious. I was going to say Columbus, but no, Zach Werenski's playing for Team USA, right?
The hottest team, well, I don't know. Yeah, we could say the hottest team in the Eastern Conference and the first place team in the Eastern Conference. The Washington Capitals. No players going to the Four Nations. And it was, I think, Seattle or Utah. They were also in that boat, but then the Finnish kid defenseman, he ends up going. That's scary to think about, isn't it, Eric?
It sure is. I mean, Tom Wilson was considered by some to be a potential.
Chikai. Not to. I know we're not on the stream here. We're on a phone. Get Dylan Strome is like taking names, and he's all like, he is unreal. Wilson, John Carlson should be playing for the United States, and then Logan Thompson in net for Canada. He's the hottest goalie of the year.
Yeah, he's the hottest. He's the best goalie in the NHL this year. Like, they've got 40 of 43 points in every game that he's played. Like, it's been money.
Crazy.
It's insane. And look, a year ago, when people started looking at the Four Nations roster, you know what everybody said would probably be Canada's goalie? I don't know if you remember this, guys. He just got put through waivers, and he's down in the minors. Tristan Jarry. Like, that was the guy that a lot of people thought was going to be Canada's goalie this year. I mean, this is how far to the depths we are in Canada in terms of goaltending right now. And I thought coming into the season, I'm not just saying this now, but I've said this on this program, I thought Logan Thompson deserved to be one of the three. And it's a damn big miss that he wasn't one of the three, because when they name the three goalies, they don't say who's the starter. All they had to do was include him in that list, and I guarantee he'd be your starter right now. Guaranteed. But they blew it, and they're going to have to wear that through the tournament unless they can convince Jordan Binnington to either pretend he's hurt or convince someone to run him, which I think every guy in the league would probably want to do anyway. So it's an interesting situation, and it's going to be. I do think goaltending for Team Canada will be the biggest topic before the tournament. It is already. It'll be the biggest talk during the tournament and after the tournament, and it could be in a good way. It could be Binnington shocks the world and stuffs it in everybody's face, and when they're carrying the trophy around, he says, "And I want everyone to kiss my ass," like Kadri did. But I think it's going to be the number one topic now and right through especially because Logan Thompson was the big miss that they missed.
Well, I just wish that the powers that be, as you spoke of, could say, listen, we made a mistake. Given the facts that we know right now, we got to go with a hot hand, and Logan Thompson needs to be one of these three. And you knock out the third dude, and to be like, I'm sorry, but he's played his way onto the team, and maybe you'd played your way off. For me, let's wrap on this. Okay, a couple weeks ago, when we were talking about how the Columbus Blue Jackets were turning out to be a really nice surprise, obviously with what's happened to Johnny Gaudreau in the offseason and his family and that emotional roller coaster, then they start playing good hockey. Who are the two Russians again? You knew their names, and I didn't. I was like, who? I was thinking about this today. I'm like, yeah.
Marchenko and Voronkov.
Okay. So I've been paying attention, not that close, but Columbus is turning out to be a real nice story, and another team you want to root for because nobody thought anything of them other than it's going to be a tough year in Columbus.
Oh, my God. Like, what they've had to go through. I mean, this city here in Calgary, I mean, the Johnny Gaudreau story and his brother, that rocked the hockey world, and in particular Calgary, and, 10,000 people showing up at the vigil, and, like, it was just, it hit hard. You can't even imagine how it hit that organization, given that they'd penciled in to be their number one left winger going into the season. That Voronkov and Marchenko, I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't have them in your pool, if you're in a pool and you don't know who these guys are, you might want to look them up. And if they're not taken, pick them up right away. They're both monsters. Voronkov's like 6'4", 210, and he's got scoring touch. They wondered if he was going to be like a beast, like mashing guys with his physicality and fighting guys. Instead, he's on. He's going to score 30 goals this year. Like it's insane how good those two guys are. They make up 2/3 of the top line in Columbus. The third guy, their center, is Monahan, who the whole world is cheering for, given what he's been going through. He's had an incredible season, like a point a game, despite all the injuries he's had, despite all the heartache he's gone through. Like, there's nobody you could cheer for more in this league, in my eyes, than Sean Monahan. And now that he's hurt, and who knows for how long, because this always seems to happen to him, Adam Fantilli has stepped in and been spectacular too. So, yeah, a great story. I could go on and on about them. I'm really happy for them because they haven't had a whole lot to cheer for, basically, in the history of their organization.
All right, Eric, I know, like I said, you said you were driving with your wife, Sarah. Definitely for Valentine's Day, you can right now on Amazon, $176, you can get a heat press machine, and then you go pick up some numbers, and there you go. You can get back into making turtlenecks with your name and number on them, and then we expect to see one here on the Sportscage.
Okay, I'm not saying when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen and you don't even need a heat press machine. I did it with an iron and some crazy material that I don't know my mom found somewhere. It's got to look sexy, boys. Like, just okay. We like to do show and tell, and next week I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be back on video, and I'll show you some of my team photos with the number on the. Oh my God, it looks so much better than I played.
If our numbers don't go through the roof after that tease, I don't know what will. All right, have a good one, buddy. Take it easy. See ya. Our NHL insider, Eric Francis, for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan, worth the drive every time. Right now, they got the Farewell to 2024 and Hello to Massive Savings event going on. $25,000 off remaining 2024 inventory. Save up to $19,000 on the 2024 heavy duties. Plus, they have a Jeep Compasses starting at $34,900. $34,900 for the Jeep Compasses. The heavy duties, that sounds in this weather, Maz, you idle it like all day. Just no.
Did you see, speaking of idling, did you see in Ottawa, they passed a new law in the city of Ottawa? And trust me, I don't get anything that happens in Ontario, especially Ottawa. If you can figure out which way I would vote. If you idle for more than a minute in the city of Ottawa now, you can be ticketed by the police. Dude, we're hours on end. You'll go to a hockey game here. That diesel truck is not shutting off for solid 4 to 5 hours. Like in Kenora on the weekend, I can imagine dudes were just idling trucks for 6, 7, 8 hours.
Oh, for sure. It's like that is almost as asinine as it was. Harry and I were working on Global in Saskatoon. And Don Atchison, who was the mayor of Saskatoon, actually not a bad guy, former goaltender, he wanted to come out. He wanted to build a bubble over downtown Saskatoon, or part of it. And people were like, the guy's losing it. Guy's losing it. And then there was the spitting bylaw that he wanted cops to ticket people that they caught spitting on public streets. That's gross. You shouldn't be doing it anyway. Like, you don't be a skid, but have fun. Yeah, hey, imagine trying to do that now with how stretched the police force is dealing with society. It's like, yeah, and then in Ottawa, okay, go ticket these people for idling. Get out of town. Eric Francis will be back on Wednesday. He said it's show and tell. That should be a new thing. Show and tell day on Wednesday with Eric, for sure. It should be. Let's take a quick break. It is the all-new Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM.
We want your business on board for the Harvard Media online auction. It's easy. All you've got to do is provide items like gift cards, experiences, services, or whatever cool product you have. And in exchange, we'll give you a world-class marketing campaign. No entry fee or cash outlay. Just a good old trade deal. That hammer could be coming down for you. Just hit up harvardmedia.com and join in on all the excitement. Terms and conditions apply.
0% financing on Bronco Sport, 0% financing on Ford F-150, 0% financing on Ford Escapes. You see the trend here? Future Ford has 0% financing on their huge selection of new vehicles. The 2024 has to go, and they need to make sure they have room for all the 25s they have coming. I know what you're thinking. 0%? What else can you do? How about free oil changes at any Ford dealership in Canada and half-price extended warranty? Check out their inventory at futureford.ca or visit them at Future Ford in Melville today.
620 CKRM presents the greatest country music of all time show, featuring Detour Country and Conrad Big Knife live in concert.
On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
Saturday, January 25th at Dark Hall in Regina. Tickets on sale now for $40 plus fees and taxes.
Hey, you don't know me, but you don't like me.
Available at the Dark Hall Performing Arts Center on their website. The first half pays tribute to early country legends.
I spent last night in the arms of a girl in Louisiana. No matter on the highway, my thoughts are still with her.
In the second, hear hits from the golden era of the 90s, plus the award-winning country performer Conrad Big Knife.
Living on love, buying on time. Without somebody, nothing ain't worth a dime.
The greatest country music of all time show, presented by 620 CKRM.
Living on love.
Welcome back to the all-new Sports Cage. Get social with us. Follow us on X at Sports Cage. Watch our video stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio at 620 CKRM.
That last commercial or promo that really had me tapping the old foot. Living on Love. Man, underrated. Underrated tune. You ever watch the documentary on Alan Jackson? Like, it's a really good story. One of the
Is that on Netflix?
No, one of the lesser ones.
Could be on Amazon. I was an Alan Jackson fan from when he first came out in the early 90s with
Chasing That Neon
Rainbow. And then everything from there, and then when, like, Gone Country, when he was kind of like dominating things, and I've always been a fan. And keep in mind, a great performer for not much of a stage show, because he's going to stand there and he's going to play and he's going to sing.
Dallas packed her suitcase. He played Country Thunder the one year when it was back still Craven. He made the popular, but not with the organizers, unpopular decision to say the stage thrust, the the big thing that comes out the middle, and some of the artists go up and down. He plopped down at the front on his guitar, and he goes, well, I'm not going to use this thing up here, so if you guys all want to come up here and dance, you can use it. Well, it was a land of poor security guards, all like 115-pound security guy that just got a T-shirt. He's like trying to hold back. And these people just got up there and they danced all night. And then finally they had to bring in some heavy artillery to say, okay, Alan shouldn't have said that. But yeah, great. It's a good little story. If you ever get a chance to watch it. Speaking of, it's a holiday in the United States of America today. The inauguration of the new president, a former president.
Yeah,
he's back in. Curtis does a really good Donald Trump. Have you ever heard him? Have you ever heard him do a Donald Trump? Come on, Curtis, put you on the spot.
Okay.
Curtis, you got to say something about the sports cage. Donald Trump.
I'm not going to do it.
Oh, what a chicken.
What? I'm not going to do it.
What a chicken.
You know what? Barney chirped me multiple times at the beginning of the show, so no favors today.
He did it. He does it. It's actually pretty good.
That didn't take long. He's salty already.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Yep.
So it's Martin
Our
Luther
notebook.
King Day down in the States. So Boston beat San Jose 6-3, Minnesota beat Colorado 3-1. And speaking of, okay, so hockey, politics, and then into music before we get onto the NFL. So on Saturday, when the NFL, the second game was on, the Philly game, I see Facebook and my cousin Derek,
good guy,
Sasky, good guy. It says he's at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. watching the game between the Caps. And he does a check-in between the Caps and the Penguins. And I'm like...
He's still check-in guy.
I talked to him not long ago. Oh, yeah.
On social media, check-in guy. He's still at the airport checking in? People that do that, and then they say where they're flying to?
Well, yeah. So like 2 months ago, I found out he was in Europe because he checked in. He was in Italy at a soccer... I'm like... You don't mention, like I talked to him, like you don't mention, yeah, I'm going to go to Europe for 2 weeks and I'm going to a soccer game. He's going to all these things. No, nothing. So he's at this hockey game. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And then yesterday he posts, because if you've been living under a rock, today is Inauguration Day, like Barney said. Donald J. Trump inaugurated 47th President of the United States. So yesterday he posts photos that he got into the Trump victory rally. He just waited in line with thousands of people. And so he's in the second deck and he's got pictures. I can find him. And so he's kind of behind the stage, but you can see him. You can see Trump and the village people and all of that. And he's like, I didn't intend, but he was there and he got caught up in it. And so anyways,
the actual band, the village people?
Yeah, he had him on stage. They wrapped up the victory rally yesterday.
They're
doing
alive?
YMCA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was the original dudes, too. So he was up there. And
they didn't do Macho Man?
So no, they just usually do YMCA, and then they book it, and then they're gone. But I'm a huge Jason Aldean fan, and so speaking of Country Thunder, the performance, it's Aldean. So Aldean, who's been a supporter of Trump for a long time, and taken a lot of flack for it, okay? But Jason Aldean doesn't care because he doesn't need to care. He knows who his fans are. And same with Carrie Underwood. They're giving her flack because she came and sang America the Beautiful. It's the president of the United States. Like, forget who it is. It's the office. So Aldean is playing tonight at one of the inaugural
leg workout
balls.
like, by the way? Like, does Mike Fisher, do they both do squats together? You seen her legs?
Yeah. She's ripped. But Aldean and his band are playing tonight at the inauguration. And a couple of his guys in his band that wrote the song Try That in a Small Town. They have a podcast called Try That in a Small Town. If you've never listened to it, it's really good. Kurt Allison and who is it? I'll look it up in a sec. But yeah, so they were talking about that, how they're super stoked. They're going to get to play a presidential inauguration. Because like when they said, when they started 29 years ago, they were playing in bars with no people, only the staff, and they would play Hicktown 4 times in a night because they only knew so many songs, and that was one of them. So to me,
so what
you explained your yeah.
How many songs do you think Aldean would play in that tonight? And would he start with Hicktown, close with Try That in a Small Town? Would he throw a little Fly Over States in there maybe? My Kind of Party. Maybe he opens with My Kind of Party.
Here's the thing. Flyover states for sure, because that encapsulates America. And I know that there's that. They're playing Try That in a Small Town because people love that song and it resonated. And I would think Kid Rock played about 6 songs yesterday. They probably play about 5 or 6 songs. If they got to play longer, that's great. But I know that there's other artists as well. But yeah, I've always been a Jason Aldean fan. And...
Wow. The Village People only got 1. That's all they.
Yeah, but that's all you need.
Well, yeah, don't play any of your. And here's our new one. Get lost.
Nobody needs that. So it should be good. Social media has been fun the past couple of days. A lot of liberal tears. That's all I got. A lot of liberal tears.
There we go. WHL, the Pats, they dropped 2 so far on their Alberta road trip. It's tough out there in Berta. They lost 3-2 to Edmonton, 4-1 to Calgary. Respectable. Then it's like, speaking of the triangle of death, they go into Medicine Hat tomorrow. Take on the Tigers. Yeah, the
I was
WHL
surprised that
report.
you said respectable. Yeah, like 4-1 to the Hitmen in Calgary. So that's a moral victory. Because
for sure.
I remember the game was starting. I was like, this could get out of hand.
They're scrappy, man. They're young and they're scrappy, and everyone's like an armchair GM or coach, and it's like, hey, they're playing the young guys. That's what they want to do. They want to get a good chance of getting Maddox Schultz in the draft, and they're just scrappy, and they're playing it. No games in the Western Hockey League tonight. Like I said, Pats are back at it tomorrow, right here on 620 CKRM. The Western Hockey League report on the Sports Cage is always brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport in Regina. The Yeti sale continues. If you need anything Yeti and you need it all carved up or engraved, they can do that as well. The CCM Vision Stick is arriving, and the Goldie sale continues at Extreme Hockey and Sport, a local hockey store that wants to earn your business. Female AAA loop. Can I go to there for a sec?
Okay. Yeah, go there.
Regina Rebels lost 3-2 in overtime to the league's best from the Battlefords on the weekend. It's a big victory because the Battleford girls in the AAA league they kind of got a lot of runway. They're like the Melfort Mustangs. So good on the Rebels. Lost in overtime 3-2. Pick up a point there, I think. Notre Dame, they split with Swift. And then Junior B, while we're at it, Capitals dumped Assiniboia 4-2. First place Storm lost to the Saskatoon Chiefs. Little curling news for you. As they get set, speaking of idling diesels, in Kindersley, as the Viterra is Prairie, the female provincial championship is going to start tomorrow, and then the men's tankard is starting tomorrow, and the women go at 8-4, the men go at 12-8. Kindersley is a buzz for curling over the next week here, and the U of R team skipped by Josh Bryden's in Italy. They're into the semifinals tomorrow at the World University Games. They take on the United States of America. So there's a little rundown. What's going on locally?
Speaking of Kindersley, and I haven't been in a long time, but I remember working there. Is the Prairie Trail Tavern still alive and in business?
I think the Red Lion basically squashed everybody. The Red Lion they got the monopoly. It's like, hey, they got the dance floor, they got the stage, they got the jukebox machine, shuffleboard, and wonton soup. What else do you need? And an off sale.
I was kind of sad to see in Kindersley, when you pull through, there's that Esso station that used to have the Greek restaurant attached to the Ford dealership. And I don't think the restaurant's there anymore. Was it? Is it still the same Greek restaurant?
I ate there. We were there for hockey last year. 2 years ago. It was great. Nice Greek rib.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But you don't get a gas station attached to a restaurant attached to a Ford dealership in pretty much any other center in North America. Cherish it. That's special.
Yeah. Remember the old Voyageurs where you just had restaurant, gas station? My dad was a big Voyageur guy. We'll just go eat at the Voyageur. Made it sound all fancy. All it was a restaurant attached to a gas station. And then the one in Saskatoon's now a faux noodle bowl house. Vietnamese is supposed to be unreal on Idlewild. What a world we're living in 2025. What a world. It is cold out. Can we get a temperature check for people that are maybe just heading home? Today we talked about it. Watch out for bike lane guy in this weather.
Is it minus 27? What is it with the wind chill?
Minus 28, waiting for the wind chill to load up.
And if you're outside,
you can't. Temperature means one thing, but wind chill is the other. Like without that, that's the true temperature.
Then the people I just saw people going out for a smoke in this weather.
But I know, but there's a bunch of people that work at there's a bunch of people that work at the radio station, and you know this, Barney. They're out back to be like, okay, I get it. At one time, probably a lot of us smoked, but then eventually you quit. The enjoyment of smoking, I don't think, can be best enjoyed when it's minus 45 with the wind chill. I don't care how much you love cigarettes.
Minus 28,
it's not there.
Minus 36 with the wind chill. So we're coming up.
And it warms up tonight?
Yeah, we're supposed to be like minus 4 tomorrow.
Man, well, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
Like this is getting a little crazy. So jogging guy will be pumped tomorrow. He's going out for one more cold rip tonight. Getting all dressed up. Good on you. I don't know how you do it. Okay, so we're going to start hour 3 talking football. Andrew Harris in Riderville has the new running backs coach. Luc Mullinder is going to join us. It's supposed to be Darian Durant. Durant's under the weather. Luke's like, I'm your guy. I can fill in. So we'll have Luke as we start hour 3 on the Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com.
Good news! You've scraped the frost off the inside of your windows for the last time. You're about to install all-weather windows from Wood Country. Wood Country Woody here. All-weather windows lock in the heat and keep the frost outside. And if you want to save good cash, take advantage of their winter booking specials. You're going to save a pile of money February 10th through the 23rd. Be warm, save money. Order all-weather windows from Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale, wood-country.com.
Tiny toppings and cardboard-flavored carbs are not what you get when you order from Western Pizza. But they haven't just perfected pizza. No, my friend, add Caesar salad to that list, along with satisfying garlic toast, baked lasagna, crispy chicken wings, and every other item on their extensive menu. Western Pizza makes food for hungry people. So if you're only kinda sorta hungry, you should invite more people. Western Pizza, big on toppings, big on taste.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. One full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
For everything hockey, head to Extreme Hockey and Sport. Spring hockey is around the corner. Get fitted to your specs with the best team at Extreme Hockey. Be sure to check out Umbrella Marketing and Tarrington and his team for all your team, corporate, and business needs. Corporate or work event? Check out our custom Yeti and engraving options. Make any occasion a special one. Extreme Hockey and Sport, 1425 McIntyre Street, and the Pro Shop conveniently located at the Cooperator Center.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Some will try to tell you 8 inches is enough. Others will say 10 inches will do. But when you want a lot of pizza, you gotta hanker down with the delicious 13-inch pepperoni from Western Pizza. Why mess with a good thing? You know what you want. 13 inches of pepperoni pizza perfection from Western Pizza. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or take out. Order today.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
You know something? It's like selling a 6-pack with only 5 beers in it. Wood Country Woody here, reminding you that unlike some other places, Wood Country Garage Packages contains everything you need, right from the start, including appearance-grade lumber, all your nails and screws, and walk-in doors with cladded jambs. Building a garage? It's one and done with Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale. Shop online. wood-country.com.
Country Corner, brought to you by Municipal Hail Insurance. Proudly serving farmers. MunicipalHail.ca.
620 CKRM is proud to support the greatest country music of all time show presented by Conrad Big Knife and Detour Country this Saturday, January 25th at Dark Hall in Regina. Enjoy an electrifying tribute performance capturing the heart and soul of classic country. Tickets at darkhall.ca. The Kelvington Trailblazers Winter Spirit Snowmobile Rally is Saturday, February 1st. A pancake breakfast at 8, registration at 10, supper at 4, and social at 6. Lots of cash prizes and a 50-50 where you can win up to $15,000. For more information, visit the Kelvington Trailblazers Facebook page. And spend your Saturdays with the Symphony. The Regina Symphony Orchestra has plenty of fun events planned this year, including Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in concert next weekend. Full details and tickets at reginasymphony.com.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. It's mostly cloudy and it's minus 28 in Regina. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound in Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with a new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. A 33-year-old Calgary man faces multiple charges after Regina police found him with a loaded firearm on Sunday evening. Officers were called to the 1500 block of 12th Avenue at around 7:30 p.m. after a mandatory bag check revealed a weapon. Police arrested the suspect without incident and confirmed the firearm belonged to him. He is charged with several offenses, including possession of a loaded firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, and failing to comply with a court order. He made his first court appearance this morning in Regina Provincial Court. U.S. President Donald Trump will not impose harmful tariffs against Canada or Mexico on day one of his presidency. Instead, he signed an executive order to look into alleged unfair trade and currency practices by Canada, Mexico, and China. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith tells the Canadian press that it's an acknowledgement by the president that he needs to tread carefully.
The president does believe in tariffs, thinks that it is a solution for a lot of issues that America is facing. But I think it's also a recognition that we have such an integrated economy that any move has to be done thoughtfully.
Smith says the U.S. wants to become an energy-dominant source around the globe, and they'll need Canada's help to get that done. Mounties have charged a man with murder in a triple homicide in Lloydminster, a city straddling the Saskatchewan-Alberta boundary. Police were called in September to do a wellness check at a home on the Saskatchewan side of the community. They found the bodies of Brent Peters, 66, and his sons Matthew Peters, 32, and Brennan Peters, 23. Investigators said the men had been shot and the killings appeared to have been targeted. Nakota Rain Puyak of the Sweetgrass First Nation in Saskatchewan was arrested on Saturday. The 31-year-old faces 3 counts of second-degree murder. Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault says it's deplorable that U.S. President Donald Trump is pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord. But Guilbeault says the other member nations will continue to fight against climate change with or without the U.S.
And it is quite ironic that the president would do that as California is going through one of the worst forest fire season in its history.
Canada remains part of the 2015 Paris Agreement, a voluntary global climate pact where nations agreed to set voluntary targets to cut back on their greenhouse gas emissions. And Dr. Anthony Fauci says he's grateful to U.S. President Joe Biden for a pardon.
Dr. Anthony Fauci emphasized that he committed no crimes. Fauci did say to ABC the threats and possibility of prosecution, quote, creates immeasurable and intolerable distress on me and my family. Throughout his campaign, President-elect Donald Trump vowed to exact retribution on his political enemies. Fauci faced intense scrutiny and vitriol for the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
That's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Oh, finally. There it is.
Whoa, did you order pizza?
No, even better. I called Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Oh, so what'd you order?
Well, they have all the top-of-the-line smartphones with all the latest features and so many great plans, man.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it is the pizza guy. Hey, guy.
Tell him to go away. We're waiting on Echo Sound.
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Qu'Appelle. EchoSound.ca.
We'll still take the pizza, though.
On the farm, dirt doesn't just get under your fingernails. It runs through your veins. Your equipment is just as tough. You bought it for its rugged dependability and efficient operation. To keep your machinery running as good as the day you bought it, you want genuine AGCO parts, fluids, and filters from Nick Service. Their friendly parts staff has what your equipment needs to keep it running at the top of its game. Keep it genuine at Nick's Service, your local genuine AGCO parts headquarters.
I'm Corey Atkinson with your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast, brought to you by Line-X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. And for Croft Electric, 27 years of trusted, reliable home, farm, and commercial service. For all electrical needs, croftelectric.com and all socials. Now here's Precision Weather meteorologist Steve Adamson.
The bitter cold conditions will ease up a bit here as we progress into the next few days. In fact, tonight temperatures will be on the rise as a south to southwest wind will be increasing, and clouds will be increasing as well. The low temperature near minus 30, so there is an extreme cold warning continuing, but it will be rising as the night progresses. Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies and not as cold. The high temperature around minus 4. It'll be breezy. Tuesday night, mainly cloudy, chance for some flurries, 40% chance. Breezy conditions, the low temperature near minus 10. Wednesday, clouds with a few flurries possible, along with a brisk breeze, the high around minus 7, chance of flurries is 50%. Thursday, sun in and out from cloudiness, the high near minus 7. Friday, mostly cloudy skies, chance for a few flurries at times, the high temperature near minus 6. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather Meteorologist Steve Adamson.
Across the province at this hour, Saskatoon is minus 25, Swift Current minus 22, Assiniboia minus 23, Broadview Moosomin minus 27, Yorkton Melville minus 26, Estevan minus 27, and Weyburn is minus 26. At this hour in Moose Jaw, it's mostly clear. Winds are from the west at 14, and it's minus 24. Regina is mostly cloudy. Winds are from the southwest at 9, and it's minus 28. For more local news that matters to you, subscribe to our daily newsletter at sasktoday.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
CoolBet has all the hot games. For all the free-to-play casino games, head to coolbet.co. They've got sports odds, including Saskatchewan senior hockey, plus all the sports odds you can think of. From the ice to the field to the court, CoolBet has you covered. All at your fingertips. No risk, just thrill. So why wait? Get in the game and embrace the unexpected at coolbet.co.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit KELLNsolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
One more hour if you're driving home in this cold weather. We just talked about it. It's supposed to break this evening. Good news. If you're biking home this hour, Mass talked about how he likes bike lane guy in this weather. Good on ya. It is cold. It is cold up in Sasky right now. Barney Shinkaruk, Chris Mazurek, Colson, and Curtis, who would not do his Donald Trump impersonation for us. Sad.
Like how good is it? Like out of 10,
I got 7.5 for sure. So that's not bad in my books.
Why won't you do this? Like, we've teased this. Like, why won't you?
I don't know. Well, now you've hyped it up too much.
He's
what if
scared.
it's terrible?
He's scared.
It's terrible.
See,
I'm nervous.
He is nervous. Did you see that Doug Ford? I just watched the Doug Ford clip on social media about he's going to clear all American alcohol off the shelves if Trump moves forward with the steep tariffs, which doesn't sound like he's going to do it immediately. And I'm like, Doug, buddy, it's like, settle. maybe think about everything. Doug, like that's like you take your buddy's keys and you're an idiot and you throw him in the river. Then you realize that he's the guy that's got to get you home too. And you're like, whoa, that was a dumb idea. It's like, yeah, this is going to be interesting how it plays out. We will get Curtis to do it this week. We'll get him to practice. Maybe you can pre-record it, Curtis. This is usually the time of the week where we have Darian Durant. And I wanted to get Luke on this week anyway. And then with Darian being down, last minute scratch, he's that kind of guy. Shoot him a text message. He's like, let me move a bunch of things for you, Shink. I will get it done. What time do you need me? I'm like, 5:05. Check that 5. If Curtis does his Donald Trump, we need you at 5:08. So it could have been a bit earlier. Let's go out in the Western Pizza guest hotline. Western Pizza's got free delivery on orders over $25 right now for a limited time. Luc Mullinder joining us. Where do you want to start with the impersonation, Luke, and why he won't do it?
You know, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do the Donald Trump impersonation, right? Like, shooters shoot, man. You know, like shooters shoot. Let's just get this out of the way, man. I think that's something that I want to see.
Yeah.
I think that's something that
Curtis is young. He's part of the content generation. They're all content creators. Like, it doesn't matter what it says on your resume. I'm a content creator. Like, you guys all probably were clutching your pearls because TikTok was down yesterday for 7 hours, and then it came back like it was a world travesty. So come on, Curtis, do it.
Yeah, we got to get Curtis to do that at some point, man.
He's not. He's not.
I mean, especially come on, it's the inauguration day. Why would if there's any day to do it? It's today.
He regrets coming back to work after a month off immediately today. Get me out of here. Hey, Kay, what do you think when you wake up on this Martin Luther King Day down in the States? We got the inauguration going on, and then the Riders come out with a little bit of a bomb, and Andrew Harris joining the coaching staff, Luke.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I mean, it automatically kind of made me think, hey, you know, I hope Anthony Vitale is okay, right? Because with Andrew Harris coming in as the running back coach, you know, you understanding that Anthony Vitale, A, was a pretty good coach, but also B, he was in that position. You just hope that, you know, the personal reasons in which he can't, you know, do the role anymore aren't like health related, right, or family related. So in a bad way. So but again, you know, this league is always looking for young coaches. I have always said that we need to invest a little bit more into those young coaches that are coming in. Andrew Harris is a guy that has a great relationship with AJ Ouellette, right? He's definitely he's not far removed from the game either. So he's going to continue. He's going to be able to speak that language that I think that you need to be able to speak when it comes to this generation of athlete. So again, it adds more experience. It's a been there, done that guy, and he's a guy that also, if you think about it, when it comes to being an offensive weapon, he wasn't just a runner, right? He was a guy that went out and got involved in the passing game. So, you know, running backs who always want more touches, is this an advocate now in the locker room for them to get a little bit more involved in Mark Mueller's scheme?
Luke, one of the things that I said, coming as from a fan's point of view, that I will be okay with this decision. I just need a little time because for the longest time, Andrew Harris was an enemy and a bit of a rider killer. Right. And I think he needs to apologize for that Labor Day game where he swung his helmet and didn't get thrown out. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. And I think Rider Nation will come around, but keep him like, and this, it's all jealousy because Harris could run, could catch. He would always fall forward for that extra half yard and get a first down. This is more speaking from jealousy. I'm happy he's part of our staff and that he's not with the Bombers because they don't have an OC yet. Could be there. So if he's going anywhere, might as well have him here. Barney thinks he's going to play by time the middle of the season rolls around. Barney thinks they're going to ask him to play.
No, somebody is going to say we should put in Harris. I'm not saying he's going to. I give it under 65 days.
If one of our running backs fumbles during practice at training camp, the first thing on the message boards you're going to say is Andrew Harris needs to be the starting running back here in Saskatchewan. I totally agree with you. Yeah, but I mean, on Andrew, listen, I'm personally, a long, long time ago when Andrew Harris was going through his suspension, I was one of those guys who pointed a number of things out, and it was very direct. But I'll tell you what, guys, I mean, that was a long time ago, but you know what? We look into the world right now, and if Mark Zuckerberg can all of a sudden do a complete 180 on fact-checking, on DEI policy on Facebook, then why can't Rider Nation do a complete 180 on their feelings around Andrew Harris? This is a guy who's going to come in and wish the best success on the guys he gets to coach, and the guys he gets to coach are in the green and white. So hopefully we get a positive outcome and more wins because of it.
Yeah, we heard Dave Thomas talk to him earlier. We'll run that audio again after about probably bottom of the hour. We'll run it again. He's got the relationship. Then Maz and I were talking, Luke, and the league is such a 2-quarterback league now. Like, you got to have a guy, the backup or number 2 that can play. It's a 2 or 3 running back league now, isn't it?
Well, I think we naturally gravitate towards scheme, and these days scheme. You're right. You are seeing the teams that are going to like that 1-2 punch, like the quarterbacks, right? I think that, could we have utilized a 1-2 punch a little bit better this year at our running back stable? Probably. However, there was also a ton of injuries, right? So I think that that's one of the nice things that Mueller here is going to get to look at, especially in his second year as offensive coordinator. Okay, because you always want to build, right? Like, hey, we did this, and this was positive. Now in 2025, here's where we want to get to, and in order to bump that up, things like utilizing the running game a little bit more effectively, is that going to be on the menu? Or passing the football to the running backs, is that going to be on your menu? But you're right, Shinks. I mean, you look at Detroit, even though they fizzled out this weekend, right? Their success was based on a 2 running back system. You look at the successful and sustainable teams in the NFL, they were always like the Steelers, they're a run-based team. Calgary in its heyday, right? Joffrey Reynolds, John Cornish, those were run-based teams throughout their success. When the Montreal Alouettes won those 2 back-to-back Grey Cups in 9 and 10 against us, unfortunately, one of the things that they featured was fantastic running backs, and more importantly, an interoperable system in which the fullback was a pass catcher too, right? And then you look at Winnipeg's success most recently, and that is synonymous with Brady Oliveira and the guy we just talked about, Andrew Harris, and being a run threat. So you're going to have to be able to pound the rock here in 2025 in the Canadian Football League. It's definitive in the other league in which we watch. So we may as well figure it out here too. Just because you get one less possession doesn't mean that you take the onus off the running back position. And the nice part is, I think the success of the running backs in the Canadian Football League this past season, I think that it sort of goes to promote, hey, let's continually use these guys. And if you think about, the Grey Cup, I mean, one of the reasons why I would give you that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers failed in their Grey Cup attempt this year was the fact that they went away from Brady Oliveira. Mm-hmm. So again, there's all sorts of evidence that we can point to and reasoning that we can get the running backs involved. So why not have a 1-2 punch behind such an important, critical piece to the offensive game plan?
One of the things that Andrew Harris said to Dave earlier is that he had to change the way that he prepared for football. So he said later in life, and this is what he's going to try and pass on to AJ Ouellette, is he stopped working out and he started doing yoga. Because Barney and I were talking, Ouellette played 8 games last year. I don't necessarily know in year 2 of the AJ Ouellette experience in Rider Nation that 8 games are going to cut it. Listen, man, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You're a bruiser. We get it. But an 18-game season with playoffs, we need you long-term. We need some health and longevity. Would you be in favor of load management just to try and keep him as healthy and upright as possible?
I think the way to load management is exactly what we just talked about in terms of the offensive game plan, right? It's not taking reps off guys. I think it's just using them a little bit more effectively, right? And what are guys good at? Are there guys that are better in space than between the tackles? Right, and figuring out how that impacts your playbook, whether it's a first and 5 situation, possession and 10, 2nd and 5 versus 2nd and 7+, right? Like, I don't think load management involves not playing guys. I think load management just means offensively scheming a more efficient attack plan.
Yeah,
right?
Luke, it's the same as high school football. You've seen it. You've coached football. It's to flag football, where it's like, we do this, we do this, we do it. The team knows you're going to do that. Now you go over here and do this. And if the Riders can do that, if they can go run heavy, run heavy, run heavy, then the next week, all of a sudden, they're running a ton of screens and dink and duck. Then the next week, they're going over the top. It's like, what are we getting from these guys?
Well, the most important thing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders is going to be, hopefully they get a lot more luck on the offensive lineman front, right? I think that in any you could, again, the Riders can go and sign Derrick Henry tomorrow, right? And if we don't have an offensive line in front of him, Derrick Henry's not going to be as effective as Derrick Henry could be. Again, all of the compartments need to be working. The offensive line is critical to the running back production, and running back production is critical to offensive line production, right? So it all works in the same way. Again, I do, is AJ going to benefit from yoga only? No, I don't think he's going to benefit from only doing yoga, but I do think that what Andrew Harris is talking about is just sort of balancing out the game plan in order to preserve your body, right? It's like getting in the ice tub. One of the reasons that Gene Mikowski, I think, was so, had the longevity that he had. I remember even as a young player watching Gene, the amount of attention that Gino was willing to pay when it came to working out, but more importantly, getting into the ice tub at every possible moment. Those are things that extend careers. So I think that Andrew Harris can come in, he can talk to AJ Ouellette, they can develop a game plan that may involve a little bit of things that AJ's not used to doing, right? Like, hey, AJ, you don't have to deadlift 790,000 pounds. Let's do a couple stretches to make your hips work better.
It's like when Tiger Woods was like getting injured all the time, and they were like, yeah, because he goes for jog. He jogs for like 10 miles a day in army boots. It's like, hey,
yeah, I believe the terminology there is yogging. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good inside joke. Okay, you can pull an Anchorman reference out of nowhere. That is awesome. Speaking of CFL running back news, Dedrick Mills re-signs with the Stamps, and he's been their leading rusher for the past 2 years. And though I like Dedrick Mills, much like Kadeem Carey, they run hard, but they have the ability to be that slash guy as well. And like I said, everybody's pushing their chips in, and it's early, but everybody's going for it. And it's kind of fun that in Blue Monday in January that you're kind of getting jazzed for the CFL season, especially now that the schedule's out. I'm so excited. Only one of those lame Thursday night games, and all the rest are Fridays and Saturdays and the odd Sunday. Good job.
I was so annoyed last year at the schedule because you're right, Maz. I mean, it seemed like every game was a Thursday game. And if we're transitioning to the schedule here, there's a couple things to really like about it. I think that, especially on the home game side, 4 games at 5 p.m. and 1 game at 1 p.m. Guys, there's no better time to get your family involved than 2025. Little kids, ain't nobody bringing a little kid to an 8:30 start time game, right? The 5 o'clock, we can do that. 1 p.m., we can do that. That's going to be something that facilitates and stewards the next.
Are you saying you can judge those parents?
What?
People rolling in at 9 o'clock with their kids.
Oh, I'm just saying,
nice.
8:30. I know where my 6-year-old son is at 8:30. And it's not football game mode cheering for Rider Nation. It's ready for bed mode. 5 o'clock that's doable. That's something where, you can involve the family, get everybody meals and stuff, and stay for the entire game and not have to worry about your son being an absolute spaz the next morning because he stayed up till 1 p.m. Right? So that's good. I think that obviously the 6 day, I think that the fact that there's no sort of turnaround shorter than 6 days for the Saskatchewan Roughrider next week. It's like Craig Reynolds had some bonus money and got to sit in there with the schedulers and be like, hey, I got a hundo that says that we need some more extra. Because even the bye weeks, guys, the bye weeks are scheduled out perfectly. They're literally incrementally set where you can get the most rest. There's no 12-game drive at the end of the year where the Riders got and everybody else getting a bye. So that's good. But, and the other thing too, the only thing I would actually have against the schedule, and this actually isn't sort of, schedule related per se. The final third of the year, the last 6 games, unfortunately for the Riders, only features 3 Western opponents. Right, you've got Montreal, TO, and Ottawa in that final third of the year, and you know, in a phase of the season where A, you have to be playing your best football, but more importantly, B, where things like point differential come in. You know, you have the ability to seed yourself higher or lower. You have the ability to potentially eliminate teams. I would have loved to see that final third feature 5 Western opponents or 4, but 3 50-50. That's probably the only gripe I have against the schedule. But again, for me, it's you know, the Riders have been really set up by the league. It's like they were in good with last year's commissioner, because again, it doesn't get much better.
Maybe he owed Reynolds a favor. You never know. That's how favors make the world go around, Luke. You know that. Hey,
listen. You know, I
calling in that favor now.
I do it all the time.
I did today to you to come on instead of because Darian bailed.
Yeah.
I used my favor.
Hey, you know what? It's a defensive lineman's dream in practice to like get a real rep as the starting quarterback, like, and not just a handoff rep, like get in there and throw during blitz. So, you know, I'm all for this opportunity.
I like this CFL Stats Geek on Insta that you follow, Colson. He had the Roughriders will have the most R&R throughout the season this year. That's nice to see. 128 rest days, followed by Montreal at 125. Like, that's got to pay dividends. It's got to, and then the least 118 Winnipeg.
And part of that's because we play the opening game and we play the last game.
Yeah.
So of the season too. So there's a little bit of a stretch there, and I think Winnipeg is on the bottom ends of those weeks. But even travel wise,
I think I
from
sent
city
you
to
that
city,
travel
we're
thing
second
the other
lowest.
day.
Yeah,
I sent you that the other day. We have the second least amount of kilometers traveled out of any team in the league, which is great because those touchdown Atlantic, those cross Canada, that killed us. That I don't care. That killed our season when you're making an extra long roadie and it's on a short week and on the road. So when you see that, to be like, wow, we travel, and it kind of makes sense almost being in the center of the country that we're kind of, you win some, you lose some. But is it BC that, Colson, can you throw that? Is BC's got it the worst, right?
Yeah, BC's got the worst.
Bad for anything that happens in BC, yeah. How many
7,000 kilometers
28,000?
farther than Ottawa. They've got 34 and a half.
Look, you know, that's what BC gets for living on a fault line on the West Coast. You know, too bad. Hey,
yeah,
you know, that's what you got to do. But again, bye weeks on week 5, week 10, and week 16, guys. I mean, one of the things that this absolutely does for Coach Mace is removes any excuse with his players about rest, because, hey, guys, the schedule favors us. We got to go and execute.
What will they do here, Luke? I don't know if you know, but if anybody, it would be you. On Saturday, June 14th at 5 o'clock, they play Hamilton in the Hammer. And then they come Friday, they play Toronto. So that would mean Sunday. Will they stay there or will they come back?
Well, they've done it. Teams have done that in the past where they get that sort of the close turnaround in the same geography. I would assume that decision is going to be made mostly on the budget, right? I think that logistically and in terms of rest and just convenience, the decision would be to stay in Ontario. But again, we don't know what the budgets look like, right? I would assume that flying all the way back and then back is going to be just as expensive, but who knows?
Expedia points.
Yeah,
we use those,
right?
Stay in Burlington.
Got a lot of points on that IHG membership, boys, and for the players. So that never happened when I was playing, where we would stay a week. But for the players, I know what every one of them's thinking: per diem. Oh man, that extra per diem is the week worth of per diem is going to be absolutely incredible. And Jo and those guys know that, right? That per diem, awesome.
Back in your day, Luke, on the road, what was per diem? How much would you get in your playing days?
I think back in those days it was like $120, so 120 maybe per day. And again, some guys would come out on like actually being in debt with that per diem, and some guys, like for instance, Marcus Adams, one of my old teammates, He would get his per diem for every 2 days, and I swear he would return to Saskatchewan with money. That's how cheap this guy was. Like he would like buy one sub sandwich, cut it up into quarters, and eat 1 quarter while we were there. And he would come back with, and then there'd be guys like me who just completely blown all his per diem on return.
Eat 3/4 of it, then put a little piece of hair in it and take it back. Be like, hey, I need a new one.
Yeah.
Save that
or
for
bring
tomorrow.
Bring the receipt back to the counter and be like, hey, I haven't gotten my sandwich yet. Is it going to be made soon?
Oh, Luke. So okay, quickly, what NFL this weekend? Any in those games? Anything catch you off guard?
Oh man! First of all, I don't know anything about football anymore, guys. I had the Ravens winning the Super Bowl, right? I had the Broncos potentially upsetting the Bills, and just nothing my way. I'll tell you, this weekend was so expensive. When it comes to my bank account, I don't even know how to bet anymore, guys. So, but what I am looking forward to, I am looking forward to. I think that my buddy sort of gave me this heads up. He said that a Philadelphia and Buffalo Super Bowl would help the Bills fulfill their destiny in losing to every NFC East team in a Super Bowl. So that's cool. But I think the winner of that Bills-Chiefs game is going to be the Super Bowl champion. And the way the Buffalo Bills played, like, listen, it was great that they won last night. Like, it's cool that they won. But the Ravens turned the ball over 3 times, okay? And the Bills weren't able to pass anything. I just don't see, like, if you have a 3-turnover game, you should be killing the other team. Not having that team miss a 2-point conversion to tie the game at the end of the game, right? Like, so I don't see Kansas City coming out and making near the same amount of mistakes as the Ravens did against the Bills, and I think they're in trouble, man. I do like the chances of Kansas City three-peating.
Yeah, 126 yards passing, I think, is what Josh Allen had. Yeah, you're not going to beat Kansas City that way. It's so funny. Everybody's social media feed, because of the presidential inauguration, it seems to be 1,000% politics, except on Saturday, once the Chiefs game started, because every Kansas City Patrick Mahomes referee meme, video, funny anything was just dominating. But here's the thing. And for everybody that hates the Chiefs, every story needs a bad guy. Star Wars had Darth Vader.
Totally.
They're Darth Vader.
Totally.
Okay, so Chris Jones and the Kansas City Chiefs defense wrecked Houston. What did they have, 8 or 9 sacks? And they had 14 or 15 hits on the quarterback?
Completely obliterated them.
It wasn't all Patrick Mahomes and the cheap calls. Although when Troy Aikman under his breath is complaining and Joe Buck is agreeing with him on TV, you probably know it's getting to a point of maybe you're getting a little too many.
Well, listen, you know what? Greatness comes at a cost, right? The Patriots, when the Patriots were winning Super Bowls, it was, they're cheaters, Deflategate, blah, blah, blah. Even when my Cowboys were winning Super Bowls, everybody was a cokehead. They partied too much, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Greatness comes at a cost. And one of those costs is that everybody and their mother is going to try to find a way to bring you down. That's why the sacrifices that you make to get to the top of the mountain mean so much. Because literally once you're there, there's nowhere to go but down. And every single person, every single supporter of any other team other than the Kansas City Chiefs, they are going to be relentless, especially in the social media, at trying to bring you back down to earth. Greatness comes at a cost.
I cannot believe how good, how confident, how poised Jaden Daniels is as a rookie quarterback. Like, they are blitzing him all over the place, and he was just cool as a cucumber, as they say, dumping it out.
Yeah, as somebody who's like really sort of into studying the developments in AI, specifically around sort of where I am right now in the humanitarian workspace, it's a really interesting sort of side note that one of the things that Jaden Daniels does is he actually does a lot of AI virtual training. And one of the programs that he's involved in is a program that speeds up the timing of a game 1.75 versus the pace that the game actually goes for him. So he forces himself to go through a game that moves faster than any other game we'll ever met. So when he gets into those situations, maybe the game slows down for him. It was a really interesting sort of side note, and one of the ways that, or one of the reasons why Jaden Daniels might be having the success that he's having.
I know that Darian's on the one-game injured list, and we're going to try and get him on this week. But it was back around Thanksgiving on one of his Monday Double Talk segments where he had said, I really like Washington and this Jaden Daniels. He's got it. He just had Darian, like, he laid out as to why, and maybe Darian is Nostradamus, but it has played out completely. Like, you just knew it was 4th and 2, and you're like, he's going to get a first down. He's going to run. Right. He's going to do it. Like, he is. And the other thing, too, is I don't think he knows any different. Like, he's playing with house money. There's no backdrop here. He doesn't have the 19-year hangover that Washington and how awful they've been.
No.
I don't mind if Buffalo wins their first Super Bowl. I don't mind if Philly wins, although...
No. I totally disagree. If anybody but Philly. Anybody but Philly. Anybody but Philly.
But if Washington ends up winning, I'm okay with that because of the Jaden Daniels factor and just because of in less than a year. And Dan Quinn, speaking of your Cowboys, flew so far under the radar out of what a good coach he is. And the Cowboys let him walk along with Kellen Moore because Jerry Jones and that circus that they run, like you've got... Keep in mind, Kellen Moore is young, but Dan Quinn's been a good coach for a long time, and to see what he's done in less than a year, and he was a Cowboy, you could have kept him, just paid him head coach money to be a DC. Well,
yeah, totally.
But Jerry was great in Landman.
You know what you just did? You know, last week we had a get together here at the house, and this guy he was from Alberta, and he meant it in the nicest way. But he was literally sitting there being like, oh, man, I can't believe it. You know, if you guys don't make that mistake in 2009, you're a 2-time Grey Cup champion. Man, I can't imagine how that would feel. I can't. And now you're doing the same thing, reminding us all that we lost a really, really good coach.
But I don't think as long as Jerry World's in charge, it wouldn't matter. There could have been 5 coaches there. He would have lost them all.
So here's the thing. Jerry Jones, for the longest time, and this is the acceptance you have to understand as a Cowboys fan and that you have to make personally. It's a sacrifice, actually. If you're going to be a Cowboys fan, you just have to understand that Jerry Jones is interested in winning the clicks versus Super Bowls. He wants all eyes on his team, and he knows that it doesn't need to be Super Bowls to do that. Right. He is a guy that has gotten the Cowboys to one of the highest valuations of a professional North American team. Right. And I think it's $8 to $9 billion. And he's done that without winning Super Bowls. And because he's realized this, he understands that he's actually better off creating a WWE-like atmosphere around the Cowboys than he is actually trying to hire and win Super Bowls, which is the exact reason why Deion Sanders is actually being considered for the head coaching spot, right? Is because that is the entertainment value that Jerry Jones is looking for. He is not interested in creating Super Bowls. He's won those, and it shows. And that's what I understand it as a Cowboys fan. Whatever. Hopefully one day it'll change, but I'm still going to be the idiot who buys the gear and cheers them on.
Cowboys are actually worth $10 billion now. First team to pass that mark.
Well, there you go.
And
so to my point exactly.
He's a marketing genius. Okay, quickly, we got about 30 seconds here. Do you know anything, like, should I be taking Notre Dame tonight to cover plus 8.5 against Ohio State?
No, absolutely not. Ohio State should walk through that game. Yeah, Ohio State's, man, up front. Again, you guys, championships are won and lost in the trenches, man. And Ohio State, their offensive line and defensive line, they shouldn't have a problem there against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's close, but, man, Ohio State, they're on another level. The best thing that ever happened to Ohio State this year was losing to Michigan.
Losing to Michigan, yeah. And getting just trounced.
Best thing that happened to them.
Baffling that happened. Luke, I owe you one. Now you come at me.
You
got
all heard
one.
that, folks.
You
all heard that.
got one on me. Thanks so much, buddy.
All right, boys.
Our color commentator on our Rough Rider broadcast, Luc Mullinder, going around the horn. Hey, we are late here, Maz. We got to take a break. It is the Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com, and as always, on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM.
620 CKRM is your home to country's greatest hits and the 90s at 9. 1 full hour featuring the biggest hits of the 90s. Garth, Reba, Alan, Shania, George, and so much more. No cassette tape or CDs required, and 90s mullets are optional. 90s at 9 for the town of Wolseley and the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM.
SaskPower is working to improve the power system in your area. In order to do their work safely, they need to shut the power off for customers in the town of Lampman, surrounding rurals, and surrounding communities from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. tomorrow, January 21st, weather permitting. Again, the power will be out tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. for customers in the town of Lampman. For updates on this outage, visit saskpower.com/outages.
620 CKRM presents the greatest country music of all time show, featuring Detour Country and Conrad Big Knife live in concert.
On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
Saturday, January 25th at Dark Hall in Regina. Tickets on sale now for $40 plus fees and taxes.
Hey, you don't know me, but you don't like me.
Available at the Dark Hall Performing Arts Center on their website. The first half pays tribute to early country legends.
I spent last night in the arms of a girl in Louisiana. No matter on the highway, my thoughts are still with her.
In the second, hear hits from the golden era of the 90s, plus the award-winning country performer Conrad Big Knife.
Living on love, buying on time. Without somebody, nothing ain't worth a dime.
The greatest country music of all time show, presented by 620 CKRM.
Living on love.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Sask Power is working to improve the power system in your area. In order to do their work safely, they need to shut the power off for customers in the village of Riverhurst from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. tomorrow, January 21st, weather permitting. Again, the power will be out for 1 hour tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. for customers in the village of Riverhurst. For updates on this outage, visit saskpower.com/outages. Sask Power apologizes for the inconvenience and thanks you for your patience.
The all-new Sports Cage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports, 620 CKRM.
Welcome back, Sports Cage. Barney Shinkera, Chris Mazur, Colson, and Curtis with you today. The big news coming out of Rider Camp. Andrew Harris signs on a running back coach position. The Riders took a lot of people from left field on that one. And people from
I bet you there's a lot of
Winnipeg.
I bet you there's a lot of Bomber fans that are like, you what?
Oh, just
like you were available
pounding the dashes on their cutlasses as we speak.
Hey, listen, when it's this cold, you don't pound the dash. You may crack that thing. They don't make vinyl dashes like that anymore. Oh, I thought of something during the commercial break. If to get Luke back or to repay the favor, you can babysit his kid during one of the 8:30 games at Mosaic. Luke can bring his kid and you can just babysit during the game.
I'll just bring Gabrielle because she's got her babysitter license now. Perfect. Zip zap. That's easy. We have some audio from Harris today as Dave Thomas had a chance to catch up with him. He talks about how he could keep AJ Ouellette healthy and available to play next season. He says when he was in Winnipeg, he changed his workout routine to help him with that.
in Winnipeg, I barely worked out. I was just doing yoga, spin classes, Pilates, just trying to be as flexible and mobile as possible. And I think, and AJ's still got a lot of years left. All of our backs are still relatively young and got lots of life left. But again, I think the big piece now, and you're seeing it more and more, is this mobility piece, and feel you're just functioning and you're able to do different movements and be in different uncomfortable positions and still be able to be explosive, still be able to get out of cuts when your body's completely going the other way, and you're on the outside of your foot and you can still get off that cut and get out of there. So just little details like that, I think, is really helps you take the load off your body, because you're able to do things a little bit smoother and more have more ability. And I think ultimately that will, instead of always being stiff and fighting everything, it bodes well for, in theory, and again, any injury can come at any point in time, but the overall ground and pound of your body for the long run will be better off that way.
That's what you're talking about with Luc, Maz, eh? A little yoga in there. I would be surprised if AJ doesn't do that, though. I can't see him just squatting 700 every day he's at the gym.
Sure. Now, keep
in
mind, since Curtis has been off for the past month, first of all, can we talk to HR? How did Curtis get a month off, in a row? Because normally that's not allowed, but he hasn't worked since December 19th. So the sheriff, Alan Lee, has been in. Now, if you've ever met Alan, important part of the cage, very important piece of the team, loves wrestling. He loves wrestling. More than I do. But when it comes to yoga, and there's a lot of people that know this. Remember Diamond Dallas Page?
I know the name.
DDP?
I know that. I'm more of a Brutus Beefcake era guy.
Okay, so anyways, Diamond Dallas Page became the world champion in WCW. This was finally his shot at 43. He was a late bloomer. Broke his back. Don't wrestle, you don't get paid. His wife at the time did yoga, and he thought, no, this is too girlish. I can't do this. Came up with his own yoga. It's called DDP yoga. My wife and I have done it for years. And if you want to talk about, and you may laugh, you mentioned that, what did you say you're going to do for the new year? You're going to try and talk to more strangers and lose weight. Is that what you said you're going to do?
Yes.
So if you're, okay, I pay attention. So if you're out there and you're wondering, if you're like, what do we do? If you just go to ddpyoga.com, they have discs, they have an app, they have all of this. Whether you got 10 minutes or you got 45 minutes, you can do it as easy, as hard as you want, but it will change your life.
I know a lot of people that do yoga, swear, but Cliff Mapes was trying to get me to do this. He does it every morning.
Yeah. Yoga and Pilates will change your life. I will still do it. I don't necessarily do the DDP stuff that much. They're on YouTube and they're all free. Her name is Move with Nicole. It's some random girl you find on the internet. I think she lives in Australia.
I'm partial to Kiana's Flex Appeal. That's what I do every morning. I came up with it. I'm going out with Kiana every day. Okay, the other thing on Harris, he talked about what it's going to be like being on the Saskatchewan side of the Rough Rider Blue Bomber rivalry. Colson's finding that clip.
It's just football, right? The rivalries are amazing, but as a coach, all you're expected to do is prepare your athletes to play the best they can and try to take the emotion out of it as much as possible. Being a Winnipegger, that's going to be hard to do. But at the end of the day, they're the team that wanted to give me the opportunity to coach, which I wanted to do. And, I think the situation with the opportunity, ability is nothing without opportunity. And they're the ones who gave me the opportunity. So, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that I'm giving the backs, the offense, the run game, the O-line, the whole team the best I can to help make help me an impact for the club.
So, yeah. Okay. We, I don't know. I verdict's out for me. Waiting to want to talk to him. I want to ask him about that helmet swinging thing on behalf of Maz. Probably not a bad idea. What Coach Mace, has he made bad decisions when it comes to coaching staff?
No. Hey, listen, if Andrew Harris is out there and we don't get him, somebody else would have. all day long. Do you want to see him join the Bomber staff and then somehow unlock a little magic with Brady Oliveira so he can be even more successful in a Bomber uniform? No.
What's with the Bombers not having an offensive coordinator?
I know, that's weird. That they didn't promote from within, because they're well, from the outside, you'd think that Wade Miller and those guys, they had a very deep organization. I don't know. Maybe it's not as deep as we all think. Or who are they holding out for?
Or something's not
something
there.
doesn't pass. Something doesn't pass the smell test on that one, because they've been very good for a long time.
Still nothing came down hockey-wise on Connor McDavid, which is just, that doesn't pass the smell test. Oh, you got something?
Yeah, 3 minutes ago from one of my apps, they both get 3 games.
Whoa, I didn't see that many. Cross-check in the face for Tyler Myers and Connor McDavid. They are getting 3 games.
Yeah, I'm just opening up the article to see if there's more.
Yeah, but here's the thing. For McDavid at this point in the season, 3 games off, and it's not going to change their playoff standing. This is more of a rest and a breather for him, probably to recharge.
What if he can't do anything again, though? Repeat offender. Connor.
Oh.
Connor on Connor crime, eh?
Connor.
Curtis liked that one. Let's take a quick break. We come back. We're going to show a shirtless former football player. Maz has been talking about this all day. It's the Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com.
Been there, done that. We get it. And we've got something great for you. The Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM. We're giving you the chance to win a 100-ton fertilizer bin from Core Grain. All you have to do is be listening to find out which sponsor locations you can enter at, all across southern Saskatchewan. You'll also have some chances to qualify during Saskag Today with Ryan Young. The grand prize draw will take place at Ag in Motion this July. Don't miss out on your chance to have a shot at the Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM.
At Capital GMC, we're turning up the heat with a special purchase of over 70 GM certified pre-owned 2024 GMC Terrain Elevations with all-wheel drive, remote start, and heated seats, starting as low as $31,515. Yep, you heard right. A 2024 for as low as $31,515. Wow! Comes with a manufacturer-backed warranty and 150-point inspection. Don't miss out on this special purchase at Capital GM Certified, corner of Rochdale and Pasqua in Regina.
The folks at Fries Tallman want to talk about being more than just lumber. They want to talk about decking, railing, drywall, insulation, siding, roofing, windows, interior doors, and more. They want to talk about improving your home inside and out. They want to talk about excellent customer service and a drive to serve you as best as they can. Keep the conversation going. Head to Fries Tallman today in Regina and Fort Capel. When planning your next building project, think Fries Tallman. Fries Tallman, let's get you building.
Hello there, this is George Leith, Managing Partner at Harvard Media. I'm proud to announce that SaskToday.ca is now under local Saskatchewan ownership. SaskToday's team of local journalists are on the ground in communities across the province. We focus on local topics that matter to you: community news, agriculture, business commentary, local sports in our all-new Sports Cage, and more. Visit and bookmark SaskToday.ca and sign up for our daily news digest. SaskToday.ca, from Harvard Media, everywhere.
The all-new Sports Cage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It's dry rib night at the Canadian Brew House on a Monday, and they got Michelob Ultras on special. It's good dry rib, always dry rib season at the Canadian Brew House. And you can go, and why I say that is you can go watch the NCAA football championship tonight. Ohio State, Notre Dame, have a couple pints or just go and have some ribs. Canadian Brew House, 2 locations in Regina, 1 in Moose Jaw. You can find all the info at thecanadianbrewhouse.com.
I feel bad. So he's playing for the national championship, and the starting quarterback for the University of Ohio State Buckeyes, his name is Will Howard. Played 4 years at Kentucky, Western Kentucky, played great. And then he comes to Notre Dame, or pardon me, he comes to Ohio State and lights it up. And they're talking about it being a bad draft class for quarterbacks. This kid is getting no play at all. Like all of the other quarterbacks being mentioned that are top 20 picks in the NFL, supposedly, like they're not playing, yet this kid could win a national championship and he's getting no love. Like Tennessee needs a quarterback. And this Will Howard kid, he's 6'3" and 240 pounds. You can't buy
big?
that kind of size. He is that big. And do you see, watch him run tonight. And maybe it's all relevant, but watch him run. He doesn't run a lot with Ohio State, but he did a lot with Kentucky. He's good. So you've got this guy right under your eyes, just right there. And
Daniel Jones was big too. So was Jamarcus Russell. Who are some other big quarterbacks? Vince Young.
Yeah.
Man, Jaden Daniels. That one.
I know. And the other thing too is Jaden Daniels, what a curse it is to be drafted number 1, whether it's in hockey or football or whatever, because then the expectations are through the roof. Jaden Daniels, you're number 2. It's almost like you're forgotten about. Not a lot of expectations. And you can just go out there and you can just play. You can just play. Do we have the
there you go.
Do we have the Fitzpatrick video? Because the best part about where's the audio? We need some audio on this.
You have to be
Wilson
watching
Curtis?
the stream to see this.
So that's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Is that their catchphrase? That like when he screamed, "Where else would you rather be than right blank in here"?
I don't know.
I don't know that
they
I'd
jump
heard that
on
before.
tables. Yeah,
I know.
I
saw a dude yesterday. He jumped on a table and the table didn't break. It looked painful.
He's at the lumbar yard today getting his back fixed.
And Colson, I sent you that clip. The weight bench in Philly has its own Instagram account now. I think it's at pumpingiron.com. Oh, there it is. The People's Bench. This happened a couple games ago, so you're just blasting out reps before the game.
I heard you talking
lot.
about this last week. That's crazy. Have you ever interacted with Philadelphia Eagle fans in real life, like face to face?
No, I'd be scared of them.
They're absolutely idiots,
violent.
man. Like from Philly, quick story. We're at Phoenix, Arizona Cardinals game, like 85 degrees out, beautiful. We're tailgating. I'm wearing a Fitzgerald jersey because Arizona Cardinals, right? Back in the day, this is, 8-9 years ago. And my buddy brings me to his friend's tailgate. Nice couches, TVs, food, the whole jazz. All of a sudden, they were playing the Eagles. These Eagle fans come by and just start swearing and berating everybody and calling the women names, just like you see in the video. And I was like, hey, guys, I'm like, it's 85 degrees out. These guys don't care that much. And he's going off onto me. And I'm like, you're like late 40s with a green mohawk. Like, I'm not going to win this battle. Have a good day. It was their belligerent. I hope they lose.
See, to me, the biggest idiots in the NFL are Raider fans because they're always, no matter wherever the Raiders play, they'll fight each other. There's no other fans to fight anywhere. They'll just fight each other at home or on the road.
I've got to check that off the bucket list. Is going to a game back at the Oakland Coliseum. Yeah, luckily I was wearing a Raider jersey that day. Again, weird.
Speaking of Vegas, let's go back to music. Did you see, what was it, Thursday or Friday? They announced Kenny Chesney's playing at the Sphere. And I checked out the dates and I was on it. It's about 800 and some-ish US a person. And then Friday, the dollar had its worst day in 20 years. It sucks. And
no go.
It was like for a 100
no-go zone
ticket
for this guy.
But it's Kenny.
I've seen him so many times.
I know, but it doesn't.
The Saphir thing would be cool. Not for 1,000.
Yes,
not for over $1,000 Canadian. I don't know. I would need Don Williams and Glenn Campbell Conway Twitty. Those, I'd maybe pay that much to see some of those guys because you can't see them anymore. Kenny?
I'd much rather pay the money and go see him in the Sphere where the sound is good as opposed to a football stadium. Because speaking of Phoenix, we saw him in Arizona at that football stadium. It's okay, but it's not the best.
Yeah, the only thing about his football is he brings like 5 people with him.
Sure, but the show starts at 4:00, and by the time he's done at 11, you're tapped. My wife and I, we always saw him at Jerry World, too. It was really good. Yeah, it was, and I remember seeing it was a young punk named Eric Church was one of the opening acts.
Oh, the first time I ever saw him in a football stadium in Lucas Oil in Indianapolis, a guy that just won a singing competition opened up at 4 p.m. Goes by the name of Luke Bryan. Yeah. It went Luke Bryan into Gary Allen, into Leanne Rimes, into Keith Urban, into Kenny. Okay, the boys are telling us we got a break because we start talking Kenny. We can go another 3 hours. It is Sports Cage. We're streamed at sportscage.com. We'll be back tomorrow. What's that? We are done. Colson, Curtis, thanks so much. Maz, you're in on Wednesday. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
See you later.
It's 6 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News. Wisconsin police say a man started a fire at a congressman's office over the TikTok ban.
A 19-year-old accused of setting a fire at a Wisconsin strip mall where a congressman's office is located told authorities he was motivated by the federal ban on TikTok. Republican Congressman Glenn Grothman had voted last April, along with a bipartisan group of lawmakers, for a bill that mandated TikTok's China-based parent company sell its U.S. operation by Sunday. Fond du Lac police say the fire was reported at 1 a.m. Sunday when the building was unoccupied. It was quickly extinguished and no injuries were reported. The man is being charged with arson. I'm Julie Walker.
U.S. President Donald Trump vowed to reverse changes made by the outgoing Democratic President Joe Biden, offering a glimpse of several executive actions to chart a new course for America.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump sitting down to sign his first official acts of his second term so he can begin governing. He's also expected later to reverse executive orders of the Biden administration and move on pardons for the January 6 defendants.
President Trump is preparing to issue a sweeping series of pardons for defendants charged in the January 6th attack on the Capitol, including commuting the prison sentences of hundreds of his supporters who've been convicted of violent attacks against law enforcement. Sources familiar with the matter tell ABC. The planned commutations for those who attacked police goes well beyond what many of his allies anticipated he would extend to the January 6 defendants and paves the way for potentially hundreds of supporters, some sentenced to years behind bars for vicious assaults on police, to be released in the coming days. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
President Trump also criticized former President Biden, who issued his own pardons before leaving office, including for members of the Biden family, members of the House January